Shit looks a little blurry. Things look a little blurry here. There we go. There we go. It's because Mo's loaded. You didn't get that fly, dog. Not nearly as good as you thought you did. And licking my gun safe is not going to get that fly any quicker, do you? You weirdo. You goofy dog. Aw. What a goof. My million flycatcher.
Ow.
I want it to be like.
Oh yeah, I get the wet sun. There you go, good enough. Yeah. Ow.
Careful.
Yeah. Almost.
Alright, you nicked the thing, okay. It's better than like having the shit collapse, alright. That's at least better. Legion Spire Stellaris. Oh, no, actually. It's actually kind of it's just literally Star Fox in Latin. But partly to Caesar Winter Stellar. Nah, that's not what happened. I've mentioned it, I think, at least once before, but I've been thinking about doing this music project a little bit. And, you know what, and I actually decided to say fuck and actually at least put some of the shit in, like, writing. And, you know, so I have at least, you know, various different things going on here now. At least this page is mostly just kind of names and at least kind of a basic premise. And then, at least for the first kind of concept album, at least. And then this is kind of at least, I have this page just kind of an outline as like an arc of like how the story I want to kind of go with it. Because I don't want to just, like, you know, make some songs and shit. I want to actually, like, have a story. Like, you know, I want to do a whole storytelling thing. You know, so, like, you know, I want to, like, kind of take inspiration from the lore from Star Fox and kind of use the first half of it as, you know, kind of being more, like, I guess kind of fan service to, like, the storytelling of the story itself. But then take it to an alternate kind of like timeline aspect of things by kind of like at least having more creative ability. Because I was kind of reading up about at least like the first two games and kind of like the kind of first little chunk of the beginning of the story of the game, or at least the games I should say. And like basically the main antagonist, Andros, the dude basically becomes the equivalent of like a crazy evil magical like evil scientist. You know, and shit. You know, so, like, hot takes, Star Fox is just Star Wars with Phantom animals instead of humans. Not really. Honestly, it's a little bit more different than that. I mean, it's not, I mean, there's not, like, a consistent, like, empire, really. In fact, there's multiple. I mean, the first two chunks of the games, I mean, it's more or less, you know, trying to stop a dude from creating an empire. You know, within the Republic, or the little kingdom that they're in. And that's another thing, like, I need to at least look at some other, like, kind of worlds template elements, you know, from Star Fox and shit, just so I can, at least kind of use that, like I said, as kind of like the template to kind of go forward with. Because I have an idea about, like, because at least I think it's in the end of Star Fox 64 when you fight Andros, where he's basically like a sentient, like super, like magical like brain thing, like where where you defeat him, he tries to kill you by basically blowing up like a mega singularity bomb thing or some shit, and that's where I want the break in the original line to happen, because I want to basically like transcend the character into a different character, so to speak. So I'm not just ripping, Star Fox, Fox McCloud. I'm not just literally ripping him, and then have him become like a ascended kind of like character in a sense, that and actually become like the actual leader of like this planets and systems that he's a part of, and actually be like the dude. He's not just like a mercenary band guy, or like a vagabond or some shit. He's like transcended up, and like now it's his own thing. So it like kind of, so I want to, play around with it and just kind of, see what works, so I'm kind of in like, I guess like the kind of world building aspect, or at least, I guess like expanded fanfic thing going on, I guess. I mean, I'm only doing it more or less as kind of a one-off anyway, but, if I think it honestly ends up going somewhere, I might, make a little bit more with it. Last Star Fox I want to play was Get Out, R-Wing, run around on foot some levels. Not Adventures, that was one where Fox has staff instead of to bring his blaster. Yeah, I know about that. See, like, my kind of project idea is not going into that type of shit. Like, that's gonna be kind of like the original line where, my storytelling, at least with the concept album, ain't going with that. Or at least with the project broadly. Like I said, it might be more than one album. The first album is basically, the first half of it is essentially going to be, kind of establishing the world's Star Fox, essentially, and then have at least like one song about James McCloud's death, and Fox having to like gather the crew, shit like that. That shit's pretty self-explanatory. That part's self-explanatory. But I mean, at a certain point, it's like once he's exiled into the other planet, that's where I wanted things to kind of start breaking away. And it'll kind of hint towards it, throughout. Like, I want to at least, like, kind of hint with that a little bit with some things. But I also want to learn more about, like, the planets themselves, because I know it's Cornoria, and then there's Venom. No pun intended, like, literally, that's the name of the other planet. Which, I guess if there is something that's, analogous towards Star Wars in a way, Cornoria is basically the good planet, Venom's the bad planet. And obviously Andros being exiled there, plays a role into the whole, like, evil magic, mad scientist fuck, dude. I don't want to necessarily say sorcerer, because, I mean, this isn't, like, fantasy in a sense, like, of wizards and stuff. Just, like, super, like, I just want to, like, add a little extra level of, sci-fi-ness with it. My StarCraft fanfic I wrote was built around a dream I had about Sarah Kerrigan having a secret twin brother who was partially infested, but due to circumstances, his infestation did not completely take hold like it did with her. Huh. Yeah. I mean, like, I haven't really expanded too much about what I want to really do with it. That's why I say I kind of might have it as a one-off. Because, like, because with the last half of it, like, once Fox McCloud dies, so to speak, because in the game, his father actually, like, channels his spirit basically to have him live. But for me, I'm going to actually have it to be where, instead of suffering the same destiny and fate as his father, he actually transcends, and it's like, your destiny's not done yet. And just basically make it like an extra, like, dimensional, like, thing going on and shit, where also, like, Andros may come back, and shit, because I think he does anyway. I think in some of the other games he, is, like, resurrected and shit. So, honestly, this whole, like, kind of, like, magic, sorcerer-esque kind of shit is in Star Fox, but I just need to explore it a little more, kind of, hash up on my lore about it, just to see if it actually is, like, there, or the terms are used, because if so, then I can implement that and get away with that more. Because I feel like, Dr. Andros being known as a sorcerer ain't really gonna play out well. Honestly, I think, having a little bit of an extra flavor, though, would... Actually, that would be good, honestly. Because if he transcends, from his, like, material form, even, before the, expansion I want to do with it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it actually could work. And then, I also need to, like, listen to some of the Star Fox music. Because obviously I'm going to have to, like, hear what, some of the themes, for some of the characters are. Because I would assume that Star Fox himself, Fox McCloud, he has his own theme. I'm assuming that some of the other characters probably got their own theme, so to speak. I'm sure Andros has his own theme. Like, I'm gonna need to, like, kind of dig into, like, some old Star Fox OSTs. So I can kind of play around with it a little bit, too. I mean, obviously not literally, like, rip it, but at least, use that as kind of like a base, for, maybe at least, like, a start for a lick, but then expand with it and stuff. To create a whole new song. Because if, like, the whole part of the whole storytelling, at least in the sense of a song, is that sometimes certain licks or certain, rhythms or certain, like, themes, you'll hear those type of things kind of repeat over different songs, because it kind of is, like, thematic to a character or to a certain part of a story. Or, like, it's supposed to kind of, like, give you the mood of, like, the world that they're on or something like that. So, I mean, I definitely want to, like, work around with that too, because that also would have to, in a sense, limit me about what type of, ability I can do, in a sense of, like, where to go with the music and shit. Because, like, I can't just, like, start from scratch. To some extent, I have to at least have it pertain around to some of the OSTs, depending on what song I'm making with that. Like, if I make a one about Fox McCloud, like, I'm gonna have to use this theme in, or at least as a basis. Like, I mean, like, it's gonna be some shit like that, so it's gonna be tricky. I think, honestly, like, if my friend, Metal T, like, is actually a little bit interested in, maybe coming in and helping out a little bit, or shit like that, I honestly deadass think, this could at least be a project that could go somewhere. I mean, I don't think somewhere in the sense that, oh, I'm gonna make it big or whatever the fuck, that's not the intention. But at least somewhere in that it gains, like, a little bit of attraction, and, like, power fantasy metal, fans, might enjoy it, and, have a little niche, little thing. Star Fox fans might enjoy it. So, if it could at least do enough of a job and at least work, then, hey, I'd say that would be a success. I don't really care if it goes big. Oh, wait, hold on. Oops. Because I wrote that while his sister was only known as Class 12 human Scion, was Class 10, Class 12 Scions, if trained correctly, effectively rewrite reality. 10s could do nearly the same, but have to exercise way more effort. If it's just his side powers versus his strike potential. So. Yeah, they could probably make that into, like, something pretty cool. Actually, here, let me, speaking of the whole concept I was talking about, here's at least, like, the basic premise of, with what I was thinking of. So, obviously, like, the first little chunk of it, the first establishment, so to speak, would be about, like, Cornoria, the world being built there. Sort of like the Republic, or, I think, or Kingdom. I'll figure that part out eventually. Just kind of, have a song about, like, building the world, and shit. And introducing, like, the Star Fox team, so to speak, and shit. And, like, some of the, side characters that are necessary. And then, eventually, obviously, have, like, some of the first battle, and then, where Andros gets exiled. And then the second part is where he returns with the rise, with his rise, where, they have to go out, do a recon where James McCloud gets trapped and shit. And the last little half of it is where, like, some of the, bigger part of the break goes into place. So, it's something that, like, it's mainly in the last little part where it says, like, instead of surviving, he actually dies and then gets resurrected instead, and you know, as like a higher, like, you know, different being and shit. I kind of wrote it gibberishly and kind of scribbled out a couple things. So I was like, how should I make this not sound weird? So, I mean, yeah, so at least it, like, you know, it's just kind of a quick little rough outline, but I think once it gets more, like, you know, built into place, I think it'll, you know, actually kind of start, you know, make it a little bit more sense of the trajectory. Because a lot of, like, where my mind is wanting to go is, like, you know, for the, like, last little, like, fifth of the album, so to speak, which is going to be, you know, the, you know, like, the whole new establishment thing, you know, so that's kind of where my brain is kind of at, outside of just, you know, figuring out the initial shit. So, because also the ending has to kind of imply that, you know, other adventures await, and also across the galaxy too, and, you know, potentially even at other realms. I could definitely want to make it kind of a big thing, at least, you know, world-wise or lore-wise. I also wrote a short one about, about the Protoss and the Twilight mission story. This brood of the surviving Protoss fight until death against an endless hybrid army. Basically ending him with committing psionic suicide by sending his members to the future. This gets for the disturbing nightmares that implied that he saw its star on a star in the Zerg Festation chamber. Huh. Make sure to keep that out close so at least the pages don't get fucked up. Also, like, at least right now, at least when it comes to the whole little music project idea I'm thinking about, my main thing so far at least is just kind of trying to, like, write, you know, songs for, and, you know, not song titles and also the lyrics to those songs with the first half of it. Like, and the other part of it is also like, how should I, like, expand this into, like, a new thing? Because I have some ideas, but, you know, they're kind of, like, all over the place. Like, they can go really any kind of specific direction, you know, with what I'm thinking about. So I honestly feel like I might just kind of, like, write it as I go, maybe. You know, at least for the alternate, like, you know, trans-dimensional timeline, you know, the interdimensional thing. You know, with that part of it. And also, like, when McLeod dies and, like, transcends in his character, I want him to, like, not necessarily just be resurrected. I also want him to go for, like, a realm where he has to, like, where, you know, he like, passes through, so to speak. You know, so I definitely want to make it more than just simply like, oh, he dies, becomes better, you know, so. But I'm not really there yet. I want to at least try to get the first half of it, you know, kind of established. Because I need that in order to really, like, expand further with, you know, some of the other parts of the, you know, of the idea and the concept that I want to work with. And luckily, I mean, there's so, I mean, you know, it's like Star Fox has been a thing since '93. Like, so honestly, like, it ain't gonna be hard to find any details and shit. Especially for, like, at least the first things I want to, you know, use predominantly, which is only mainly for the first 2 games, and maybe, like, some stuff from, like, some comics. Because I guess, because there are Star Fox comics, which I never read, so I'm gonna have to start reading some of that shit. You know, at least, you know, to some extent, you know, like, I'm gonna have to read at least a little bit, because it will help, you know, kind of give me more of an idea about, like, you know, where to take, you know, some of the, like, lyrical world building, so to speak. You know, so, it's, It'll definitely be a challenge. Like, I've written songs before and stuff, but, like, to do, like, a whole, like, album that I'm telling a story with, I haven't really done that. So this will definitely be, I think, a challenge. But I'm down for it. Like, I mean, I'm actually kind of excited to try to, like, you know, at least put some detail to it. Like, you know, because if I can at least, you know, do that, even if I don't really have the recording equipment quite yet. I mean, because I know that's an ability I have, you know, to get or acquire, or at least, you know, have loaned out, so to speak. So, I'm not really worried too much about that yet, because I want to get that shit done first. Like, because I also need to, like, write the music itself. And I'm not just thinking of just guitars, bass, drums, and shit. Like, I mean, I'm thinking, like, there needs to be, like, you know, some, like, orchestral stuff a little bit. You know, some, like, synths. I mean, I definitely want to add some techno shit for sure. That definitely needs to, you know, be somewhat of an element. So, it's definitely going to be, ambitious, honestly. I think one of my more ambitious things that I'd be doing. Besides, I actually have a goal, which is kind of why I'm kind of pulled the trigger and actually kind of put some establishment to it. Because if I could get at least, like, a set's worth, you know, of, like, songs out, like, cause, at least with, like, the whole concept itself, like, there's at least 6 out of, like, at least this whole, like, kind of timeline outline here. There's at least, like, 6 songs that I know for sure that I can at least make with all that. So, if I can at least, I don't know, get, like, 5, and then, you know, I could fill the rest with, like, some cover songs, you know, like, honestly, I call that a major success, because I honestly wanted to try to, like, you know, see if I can do a set for, the FurCon for next year, especially because, like, their whole thing is space-themed, and considering there's, like, a lot of, obviously, Star Fox fans that, and people that are very well aware about what that is, you know, like, I feel like it definitely is a sell. And also, surprisingly, you wouldn't think it, but there are legitimately metalheads that go to cons like that. I saw a lot of them last time I was there. I was actually kind of surprised. I saw, like, a small group of, like, 5 or 10 metalheads that were all just, like, hanging out as friends, and I was just like, what the fuck? It's like a bunch of metalheads here, oh. But I feel like that's just because the Pacific Northwest does kind of have an underground metal scene, so to speak. It's not really uncommon to find them around here. The UD, Future Earth, and the StarCraft, I don't know. Yeah, I'll watch that here in a sec. Let me read these up here. I'll get on that link. The UD, Future Earth, and the StarCraft timeline is ruled by an ideology called Enlightened Socialism and a state-mandated science-based religion called the Divinity of Man. The Kaprulu humans are ruled by the Terran Confederacy, which uses the Confederate battle flag as a standard, which is by the end of the first game is replaced by the Terran Dominion and Monarchy. Confederacy was on paper a republic, but in practice was an oligarchy. Huh. Excalibur. The 332 mark.
Why is he not using spare change?
Spare change.
You're going to jail. Chief, we got one. We got one.
Whoa, you can't come in the club like that. Why not?
Wait, what the hell?
Why is he not using spare change? Yeah. Thank you.
Cities where it's illegal to help the homeless.
Gang, you're going to jail. Chief, we got one. We got one.
Whoa, you can't come in.
Damn. Wait, this is Worldwide Vines? Dude, this is back when, like, Vines were still a thing? Oh my god, I almost forgot Vines existed. Holy shit. Deadass, I really, honestly, like, kind of forgot there for a second that Vines were a thing. Because, well, you know, they just... I mean, it's like, they basically kind of, like, had, like, a blaze of glory and then just died. Like, they were there for a bit, and then they just, like, went away. They're literally like a fad, honestly, like a fad platform. Talk of Divine Redemption Arc MC. Hey, what's up, man? Do you think there are legit homeless people that are undercover cops? I would honestly say yes, but honestly, I mean, if that was the case, then I feel like there'd be a lot more people who are homeless who would be arrested and shit, you know what I mean? Like, so, I think that probably was a thing, but I think because of resources and blah, 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 we don't get funded enough and all this other bullshit that they don't do it, which honestly good, I don't want them to. Because if anything, if they would do that, they would, like, unironically, straight up, like, try to fuck with other homeless people more than anything. During the protests, yeah, back in 2020, there were homeless people who were sleeping right in front of the police building that people think were undercover cops. Yeah, which I don't understand why, like, they would think that, because honestly, it's, that, like, I mean, it would just seem odd for, like, undercover cop to be sleeping in front of the building, because, like, what, like, are what, do they think people are gonna, like, come up to them or something? Or is that the idea? Yeah, like, maybe, like, in protest, it goes up, it's like, hey, do you need food, or you need a blanket, or, like, or something, like, I mean, I wouldn't know on that one. Seems weird. Though also it'd be a little weird for a homeless person to be sleeping there knowing those protests were going on. But maybe it's because probably they felt more, quote, safer. Just in a sense because, like, like, because, I mean, the cops, will only really come out and fuck with protesters. They're not going to really look at you, sleeping, on the side of a building. So, I mean, I don't know. I honestly wouldn't be too sure about that one. I mean, I agree, it was probably cops. They seem sketch. I think it was surveillance. But they just can have, like, the protest camp was in the park. Well, yeah, I mean, I remember that shit. But if they wanted to have people surveilling the protest, they would just have undercovers, in the protest itself. And they did. So, I mean, that's, definitely a fact where they had undercovers in the actual protest itself. I mean, so I kind of, leave it a little bit more open of like, when it comes to the, homeless people homeless people potentially. When it comes to, them being, on the side of steps and shit. Because, I mean, that would make more sense because you're more directly in, the crowd and you can have a little bit more of a direct, observation of what's going on. And also you could be hearing things too and hearing, people maybe talking about like doing some organizing of some sort. Like, hey, let's, get a couple spray cans, together and let's go hit the side building over there when that, cop car drives off. Because I've been, eyeballing their shift and there's like a 5-minute interval and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, I mean, they might hear some shit like that. I mean, so it'd make more sense for them to be like in, like in the actual crowd. Because then they would actually have not just eyes, but also ears. And even maybe, like, like butter up a few of them and talk to them, too. And maybe see if they, could spill some beans, so to speak, on some shit. I mean, that's why, being kind of vigilant about, like, people that may or may not be cops and shit, in protests and stuff is always kind of an important thing. Because every now and then, you might legit find some people like that. Who are just, like, straight up being a little sus. Because they're cops. And they're doing that on, purposely, because they're undercover. They're in plain clothes. So I'm going to be incarcerated. Picture of him running a campaign from prison. I mean, there's nothing really illegal about that. I mean, people have done it before. At least, Eugene Debs, when he did it, was based. Because he was a socialist and a hardcore trade unionist. But, I mean, like, Trump, though, would basically be the, like, at least the antithesis of Eugene Debs. Like, he would just be unbased, cringe, and sad, and a bitch. While Eugene Debs is just a king in his cell. A king for all of us. Oh, my lucky night. Mev Mev. Mev Mev. Ethereum developers are reaping huge rewards with Mev bots. Wait. Hey, nice, you shared my shit. But... Huh? Dude, what a weirdo. What a crypto bot. And it's really talking about bots too. It's like, hey! What the fuck? Trump didn't dispute some godforsaken black states former president and Republic forever. And he's an elite that has power. Like, I mean, the thing is that, like, I mean, even if he wasn't president, he would still probably be fine. Well, frankly, also, this wouldn't be happening anyway. I like Cornel West, but he's either in with the wrong crowd or lost his touch. I think Cornel West just honestly might be in the wrong crowd, I think. Because, I mean, yeah, I like Cornel West too, and pretty much is pretty consistent, you know, like, at least, you know, philosophically and politically, like, I mean, you know, like, he's, you know, someone who's pretty much, like, very consistent. But, I mean, I think, you know, honestly, he, you know, just, you know, like, sees the name, and, you know, like, you know, at least philosophically thinks the idea about, like, you know, having a people's party, you know, so to speak, just, you know, whether a name or not, you know, is a good thing. I mean, I don't know what's going through his head with it, honestly. But, like, I mean, I'm at least for him, I'm willing to somewhat give him the benefit of the doubt. The thing is, though, he's just, I think, in the wrong crowd, and I think, you know, that's, you know, an unfortunate, like, negative influence on him. And that, you know, really tarnishes his own credibility, frankly. And that's not good. Why not run up the Greens? They have about success in 10 times the number of states. I don't know. That's another thing. Like, why not run at the Green Party? Or just simply as an independent, even? Like, I mean, it you know, like, I don't know if, like, maybe he just, like, legit was, like, greased up a little bit. Not, like, financially, but at least, like, maybe rhetorically by these guys. Because, like, the People's Party, yeah, they are grifters, and they are kind of manipulative fucks, frankly. So, I mean, like, I feel like they probably just manipulated West into thinking that they're a genuine movement. Do Greens have all 50 states? No, they don't. I think they have ballot access in, like, 15 or 20 states or something like that. I thought they had around 40-ish. That much? I don't know about that. I thought they had a little less than half. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've, you know, increased their ballot access, you know, over the years. You know, so maybe it might be like around 40-ish now. I'm honestly not too sure. I know it's not all 50 states. I know that much. I heard they had about 20. There's different numbers. That was around 2016. Yeah, see, like, I heard they had, like, about 20 in 2016. And I heard they had, like, a little bit more. They increased it slightly, like, by, like, 1 or 2 every year, basically. So, at least from what I thought. Maybe they've increased more since. Like, maybe there are legitimately, like, people doing more third-party voting. At least, you know, either Green or Libertarian. But I don't... I mean, I don't pay attention to that shit specifically. Because, frankly, sadly, I mean, the main thing that matters is, like, the duopoly vote. I mean, it's, like... That's kind of the sad fact about it. You know, just thinking about Cornel West, though, it's just like, I really, honestly, I feel like this is my prediction. I really do feel like the People's Party kind of grifted him. Like, and I feel like, you know, maybe due to his age, and he's not really as, like, you know, like cunning about like about someone selling him a pile of bullshit, like I feel like he was just kind of like wooed over by like some people within that party, and because of that, like essentially has like fallen in with them instead, and I think he's still genuine. I just think that like it's like it's just something that for some reason he just got sold on an idea that it's like more valuable to be on their side for some fucking reason, which it isn't. Like I honestly do want a genuine people's party, like a genuine one, like and it's honestly kind of shitty that like the party's title is the People's Party. Because honestly, that's a good name for a party, like, and I want that to be like a genuine, meritable, like, party, but it's just literally co-opted by a bunch of fucking grifters. Like, frankly, that's just what needs to happen at the party. It needs to get like re-co-opted. It needs to there needs to be like a little party coup, essentially. Like, people that actually give a fuck need to, like, infiltrate that party and fucking, like, oust it, from the inside out, oust the leadership and everything, and actually make it something worth a fuck. And also, work of the Greens, too. It's like, I mean, don't, like, especially in open primary states, like, openly work with them. Because that would also expand their possibility of that shit, and potentially even help regain their reputation. They've already had a bad reputation, it's not worth it. I mean, I guess if you have, like, a different type of People's Party, you can't really put American People Party or some shit, because that sounds a little nationalistic. You might get right-wing fucks that are gonna infiltrate that shit, so don't want that. Workers' Party? I mean, there's also the Working Families Party. I don't know, I mean, there's... Either way, who gives a really, frankly, a fuck about the name? It's just that there needs to at least be, like, a more concise, like, organized thing, to actually, like, that is genuine, that's pushing a broad leftist message, and a broad leftist type of movement. It can't just be, like, all this fragmented bullshit, frankly. Like Worker Party or Labor Party. I mean, I definitely do. I mean, I most certainly am an advocate for a Labor Party. I mean, honestly, I'd probably say that is, like the second best bet. Just having just simply the Labor Party, and that's it. And honestly, I would argue that maybe having it at least somewhat, directly involved with, like, or at least, somewhat directly involved with, like, unions and shit wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. I mean, if it's the Labor Party, then obviously they are there to represent workers and, like, the marginalized and, like, the people that are most exploited by the labor and shit, which unions also do, too. So it makes sense, for them to, at least to some extent, like, at least, indirectly collaborate with each other. I mean, they would anyway, just because a lot of, people are most certainly going to be pro-union and shit. The Union Jack Party, nominate Biden as the first chairman. The Union Jack Party. You know what? That'd actually be a little bit of a curve. I kind of like that, actually. The Union Jack Party. You know what? I honestly like that. I honestly legitimately dig that. I mean, I'm willing to say that. Yeah, I'm willing to take that. In fact, I think the whole term Union Jack is something that is historically like a catchphrase within like union and labor agitation anyway. Because I think it was, I think the whole term of like a Union Jack, or I think it was meant to be like a Union Spade or something like that. Like, the idea was, the whole term is essentially like somebody who was like, going into a non-union workplace or a place that's like, a union-busted workplace. And essentially like revitalizing or, agitation for the union and shit. It's a nickname for the British flag. Well, I mean, like, the thing is, like, the labor movement tends to co-opt some stuff every now and then. Like, if you listen to, like, a lot of labor music, you know, like Solidarity Forever, that's based off of another thing. And, you know, so it's like, I mean, realistically, I mean, the labor movement's always, like, appropriating shit for their own more pro-labor needs. And, you know, the whole term of, like, Union Jack isn't necessarily, you know, like, a stranger to that either. I got it, the shut the fuck up party. I don't really want that for the right wing, though. Do a psyop, you know, be like conservative party, but it's like, hey, right winger, shut the fuck up. Okay, so you are on the same page. So, yeah, running on platform, make a Republican shut the fuck up. Comrade party. I feel like that might get co-opted by tankies. Oh, comrade! Oh, yes. Do you wish to, you know, cease music production for the proletariat and also rulership stall? Wait, what did I say? The QB party. The quit bitchin' party. The BOTN. Bring on the nukes party. The BOTN party, dude. Paul's party. Paul's Eagles party, dude. The rings of love, I'm to the ball when I fight my friends in the face of the voice of the Lord. God be a king and a dog, sometimes in bright on the wings of love. I'm to the ball when I fight my friends in the face of the voice of the Lord. Or the Q2 party, the quit whining to keep it family friendly. Yeah, because you know there's going to be a bunch of fucking weird moral puritans. They're going to be like, what the fuck is it? I mean, you know, those motherfuckers are going to be really annoying and shit. So, you know, like, you got to make sure that those woke scolds, you know, shut the hell up and, you know, make sure that... I've also appropriated the idea of woke scolds basically being these right-wing, like, think of the children fucking weird bitches. Like, yeah, they're realistically woke scolds, so let's just be honest. The MZU, the Millennials Union, the Millennial Zoomer Union Party. I feel like, yeah, there's a little bit of angst between these Millennials and Zoomers, though. Not as much between Gen X and Millennials. Just don't tell tankies they're being purposely sent on suicide runs. What if they want that? I shall commit suicidal political martyrdom for my comrades! Like, what if they want that? Are you salty female dogs in dust degrading women? You disgust me, pig! You disgusting misogynist! How fucking dare you? I could really do a pretty good Karen if I wanted to. Why is that every generation says shit on the one after? I don't fucking know. I wish it wasn't really the case. I think it's stupid, honestly. Oh, this generation these days. It's like, fuck off. What about your generation, motherfucker? If anything, it should really be the other way around. Like, the older generations don't got room to bitch. We got room to bitch. It's just like, I mean, anyone older than, like... 30 don't got room to bitch. It's just like, what the fuck? Is boomers shitting on both? Well, and then you got like Gen Xers, and they're kind of mixed. You got some Gen Xers who have been brainwashed by the boomerism, and then you got like Gen Xers who are actually pretty cool. You know, and then you got some that are just kind of in between who, you know, whatever. They're just kind of in the middle. Yeah, they're just kind of the neutrals. So you got like the good, the bad, and the neutrals. You know, when it comes to like Gen X and then millennials, they're like mostly pretty decent, pretty good. And then like Zoomers, they're mostly like a bunch of fucking like queer, furry, anime loving degenerates. Like, I mean, like, and also lefty as fuck. Like a bunch of them, you know, are just like most Zoomers are that in some way or form. Like, I mean, if you meet a Zoomer, it's almost certain they're probably going to be queer in one way or another. They're going to be likely a fucking furry, maybe. They're probably gonna be into some anime, for sure, honestly. They're gonna be into some other shit, too. Like, I mean, they're gonna be one of those guys, you know? And honestly, hey, all good shit in my book. I remember headbanging that shit at school. I still headbang to 3 Days Grace every now and then. They're touring with Chevelle. Yeah, they were with Chevelle. Wait, honestly, wasn't 3 Days Grace literally just on tour? Didn't they just come to Portland with Shinedown? And now they're on tour with Chevelle. Like, didn't they just show up here, like, not even that, like, long ago, and now they're coming here again? Yeah, but fuck Shinedown. Well, yeah, fuck Shinedown. Yeah, shitty-ass fucking weird-ass fashy band. Which makes me kind of not really as fond of, you know, 3 Days Grace because of that. But you know what? I had a fucking badass 18th birthday because of them. Mainly because of my brothers. So you know what? I mean, I got a soft spot for 3 Days Grace. I mean, that's how I really got into 3 Days Grace was because of that concert, so... Every generation did dumb shit. The difference was the internet as it exists now was not around back then. Yeah, so a lot of the dumb shit is, you know, like basically at this point, you know, being amplified because of the internet. My music is becoming dad rock. I mean, I also kind of listen to some dad rock. I mean, what? Or mostly like dad metal. Like this is basically dad metal. But it's more modern dad metal. Like, this album came out, like, I think 2013 or something. Like, this is just straight up unironic dad metal. Like, anything power metal is just basically the equivalent of, like, dad metal. You know, so... like, if you got a dad into metal, chances are they're listening to some power metal. Or classic metal for sure. Definitely that. But there's always usually an offshoot, you know, of that type of stuff, you know, where, like, you got some power metal going on and shit, and some other things. The power metal's pretty awesome, though. And my whole, like, little music project I want to expand on is going to be power metal anyway. Power metal's dad metal now, huh? Dude, I've been to enough power metal concerts to, you know, really say that, yeah, yes. I'm, well, like, I mean, not literally... But at least, you know, tangentially, yeah. There's an overlap. I thought it was more like 80s music, which is becoming our dads. Like, our dads were into 80s music, for fuck's sake. They grew up with that shit. Like, so yes, it is. Like, my dad grew up listening to 80s rock and metal and shit. Like, and yours too. I mean, so, yeah. I mean, it kinda is. I would say this type of metal, because it's more modern and was in the 2010s, you know, this is not like... It's, you know, it's not literally, that's why I say indirectly. Like, a lot of classic power metal and shit, especially from the 80s, 90s onward and stuff, you know, to an extent, yeah, it definitely does. But a lot of power metal bands today, you know, like Lorehammer, for example, are kind of, you know, based off of that. I thought more 80s music is dad rock than modern power metal. Well, a lot of power metal is based and influenced off of a lot of, like, you know, the music from then. Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of metal and rock is anyway. But at least power metal, I would argue, a little bit more so than others. I mean, it's just like, you know, I definitely, you know, listen to a lot of 80s, you know, and 90s, like, or even 70s, like, metal bands and shit, you know, that were kind of sprouting out and stuff, outside of, you know, the classics that people know about. And there definitely was, like, you know, a proto-power metal, like, you know, type of thing going on, especially with the whole fantasy element. I mean, like, you got, like, bands like Manowar, for fuck's sake, going, like, hardcore fantasy, you know, vibe with a bunch of shit. So, I mean, it's, like, the whole, like, you know, power metal being kind of, you know, tangential to dad metal, you know, basically, yeah. I mean, there's definitely an overlap. I feel like Tyler might argue with me on this, but I feel like you know, he might understand it and might at least somewhat agree. I don't know. I mean, you know, he would probably be a little bit way more knowledge about, you know, this specific thing more so than, like, you know, rock or any other type of genre. But at least for me, I would say that, yeah. I mean, I feel like, you know, fucking, you know, like Unleash the Archers or some shit would be like having this as like its lick, you know, for one of their songs. Or like Manowar. Like, honestly, this sounds like, you know, something that I would hear Manowar fucking play. To have sci-fi edge as magical fairy shit doesn't hit like it used to. Well, Gloryhammer isn't all about, like, fairies or anything. In fact, it's actually kind of a mixture of a bunch of that sci-fi stuff with a little garnish of the magical sorcery stuff. Like, the first album is, like, a lot of magic shit, for sure. Like, I mean, the first one. But the second and third and the fourth albums are, you know, implementing, like, fucking, like, cosmic, intergalactic space battles and all that type of shit. Like, I mean, it goes, like, literally intergalactic and shit. I mean, it goes pretty intense. I mean, so, honestly, like, I mean, Gloryhammer goes beyond just, like, your typical fantasy. I mean, they actually mix that with sci-fi, like, shit, honestly, I think really well. I really wanted to see, like a show or some shit, like a miniseries just based off of Gloryhammer's, like, story, because it's really extensive. There's literally 3 timelines, and I actually found an actual, like, comprehensive, like, full timeline that shows you, like, where it splits and everything, and there is 3. I thought there was 2 specifically, but no, there actually was 3, like I thought, and it's like, oh my fucking god. It's like, how does it get so intense? And just music, I mean, not even like an actual show. This isn't based off a show or anything. It's just like literally in the brain of a musician. And it's that extensive. It's like, goddamn. Sounds like that. Well, a lot of power metal is gonna have that, like, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna have, like, that fantasy aspect, you know, kind of thing. I mean, honestly, like, a lot of different, you know, metal bands, especially, honestly, frankly, in Europe, I mean, there's different aspects about using certain, like, classical, like, instrumentation, or at least, you know, different progression, where it definitely sounds a little, yeah, just straight medieval. At least for some bands like Feuerstrons or Gloryhammer and bands like that, they're doing it in a way because, you know, like, they're trying to, like, you know, like, kind of subliminally, in a way, saying that these bands take themselves too seriously, but at the same time still making some badass shit. I mean, that's why I like Chris Bowes as well. Like, Christopher Bowes, like, at least the guy, of Veilstone and Gloryhammer, the dude is honestly kind of spooks me with how, like, creative the dude is. Because these also aren't his only 2 projects. He's also done a few others and is legitimately kind of a memester and will be very interactive with his community and all that other shit. It's kind of, it's like, it's really, you know, when you see the dude, he just kind of looks like your typical Scotsman, frankly. But like when you like see his brain, it's just like not the one's putting it away. Hey, and I'm not like trying to like defend my thing. I'm just kind of explaining more about, like, you know, why power metal kind of sounds the way it does, you know. And honestly, for me, why I kind of like it, because I do kind of like that, like, big, like, story arc that, you know, power metal, like, you know, at least a lot of power metal bands, you know, and different artists in that, you know, like to do. Like, where, you know, an album's not just, like, you know, a bunch of songs, you know, cobbled together that's, you know, tied to a theme or something. It's, like, a whole story being told. I mean, you can all, you know, obviously listen to the songs on their own, but, because all of them tell a story in themselves, but, like, you know, just having the whole album, you know, basically being an entire, like, story, essentially, you know, is what makes it really cool. And obviously, I mean, power metal ain't the only genre to do that either. There's plenty of genres that do this type of shit. In fact, I mean, honestly, like, every genre has an ability to do that. Because in a lot of ways, music is legit, you know, to some extent, you know, storytelling. I mean, whether it's, you know, telling some real stories or a fictional story. I mean, you know, it's like, I mean, that's kind of the awesome thing about music. It could be, you know, legit, like, you know, this whole big, you know, like, story, you know, that is in multiple songs. I mean, honestly, like, some of the first fucking songs were basically just telling stories. Like, I mean, the whole, like, story about Gilgamesh, I mean, that's also a song. Like, in fact, a lot of the early tellings of that story was through song, you know? So it's just like, I mean, a lot of, you know, stories, you know, frankly, were initially told via things like song and shit like that. Or via painting, you know, or, you know, via art like that. So, I mean, you know, it's just like, that, and that's kind of like, at least for me, why, you know, I tend to be so expansive of a lot of my music tastes and shit, because, like, you know, like, sometimes it's not necessarily, you know, just the music itself that, you know, gets me vibing, but also kind of like the story, or like the lyrics, or kind of like the theme that's, you know, kind of being, you know, pertained around, you know, with the song, or even the album. And if anything, at least, you know, gives me more of an appreciation for either the genre or the band. And, you know, it gets me listening to shit like that more. And at that point, it gets me liking it. And I end up start liking that type of music. I mean, honestly, that's how I got into things like blues and, you know, even like older, like, you know, folk music and shit. Because a lot of that type of stuff, you know, was, and in a lot of ways still is basically just storytelling. That's why, you know, especially vibe with a lot of music like that. That's why it's kind of the other side of the coin when I said that no one can really defend what leftist extremism looks like. That should be like shoots itself in the foot and collapses. The West has fallen! The West has fallen! I was going to continue this story by saying I don't even know what the static American fascists are going for, because any mention of culture is the end of the West. Apparently, what is the West? Then I remember exclusionary fascism doesn't make sense. Or definitions don't make sense. Fascism is logical. The West being defined by what it isn't and what and not what it is the vague thing the fascists fight for. But since anything and anybody can be accused of being a threat to the West, the term runs out of inhabitants. Fascism eats itself because its value is exclusion. Of course, this is giving them too much credit. They know the West is code for white, patriarchal heteronormativity with a homogenous way of life and only one legal book, the Bible. Yep.
I wanna set the universe on fire, feel it burn tonight, set the universe on fire, there's no
I meant to say define. Well, in reading that, I kind of figured I knew what it meant. But yeah, I mean, because honestly, the worst leftist extremism you get is like, you know, some leftists like talking off about some shit. Being like, these fucking Nazis need to be like, you know, it's like, yeah, that's like the worst it gets. It's just that, basically. Maybe a lefty who, you know, has a few guns and stuff. Like, I mean, that's literally as far as it goes. And even then, the lefty with a gun is probably just gonna do target practice by themselves or with, like, one of their buddies or something. You know, it's like, that's literally as far as it's going. Oh, a protest, or they might have a Molotov and they throw that at a cop or something. Or, you know, spray painting, you know, a fucking, you know, city hall, or smashing a window. Oh, wow, what extremism. I mean, I guess technically it is, but, I mean, if we're gonna look at, like, the spectrum of extremism, that's pretty fucking benign, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's like, what the fuck? And even then, some of it isn't even extreme. Like a lefty happenstance owning guns, that's not extreme. Like, it's very normal for, you know, guns to be in, you know, for someone to own that, you know, at least in America. It's not really uncommon to know somebody, or for someone straight up themselves to own a gun. Like, I mean, before I owned firearms, I knew people who did. And now there's even people in my friend group that now know people who do, because I do. So it's just like, I mean, you know, it's like, I mean, in America, you either know someone who owns a gun, or you probably do yourself. I mean, so it's like, that's not an extreme thing. I mean, if anything, it's, you know, I'd like to say, you know, lefty who's like utterly uber pacifistic, you know, who would use no violence at all, is actually kind of extreme in a different format. You know, it's just like, you know, just not extreme in violence and shit, just extreme in peace and pacifism. So it's just like, I mean, it's like leftist extremism, honestly, is more like spectral than the fucking right, because the right's extremism is really just bloodshed, violence, and death. Like, in the left's extremism is frankly way more complicated. You know, it really just honestly is. I mean, like, am I wrong? Because I feel like I'm not. I really genuinely feel like I am not on this one. Because, I mean, because I can't think of, like, there's only really two things I can think of that may be considered leftist extremism. There was Michael Renault during the 2020 protests who was really fucking whacked by the Fed marshals that Trump ordered. And the Fed marshals really begged Trump to fucking give him the green light to kill him. In broad daylight, too, by the way. And they literally killed him like a fucking, like, you know, some mafia, you know, whacking somebody in the middle of broad daylight to make a point. And, like, and the main reason why is because he defended himself against a Proud Boy. A Proud Boy was attacking him and shit after an altercation between him and between Michael Renault and a few of them. And he shot and inevitably over time, you know, later killed him. You know, and Michael Renault, you know, obviously understanding that, you know, he likely was going to be, you know, put in prison anyway, and, you know, not, you know, seen as, you know, justifiable self-defense, you know, went to Washington, you know, to be with one of his friends, to hide over there for a bit, you know, to kind of figure out what to do. And the marshals tracked him there, and it was like a day or two later where they showed up, you know, after he left to go to his car, and they literally rolled right the fuck up and, you know, opened up their fucking doors and with AR-15s just fucking blasted his fucking ass. And they didn't kill him right off the bat either with that. You know, like, he was, you know, like, crawling to his fucking car to grab one of his guns and shit, and one of the feds walked right up to him and just blapped him right in the face. Like, in broad daylight, too. So there's that incident, which honestly, the far right, you know, and the feds at that point, because it was Trump's administration, were honestly more extreme than Michael Renault. And then there's the Congress baseball game incident, where you had the guy who was apparently like, you know, a Bernie bro or something. Which, I don't even know if it was known if that guy was a full-on lefty. It was just like, it was known that he was a fan of Bernie Sanders. That was literally about it. And it was like, I think 2017 or something like that when it happened. So it was just after the elections and shit. So, I mean, it's not even known if the dude was like overtly like a lefty or anything. It's just that he was fond of Bernie. So it's like, maybe with that one. And the other one, I mean, the fucking government and the right-wingers were more extreme, you know, in comparison to the leftists in the other incident. Because the leftist was acting in self-defense and died by the government, assassination, basically. And what I'm saying, honestly, is not, like just speculation. Like, it's fact. Like, what I'm saying is absolute fact. Like, I mean, he defended himself, and the right-wing administration, that was Trump's administration at the time, because the Fed marshals literally were begging him to fucking kill him. You know, fucking whacked his ass. And Trump begged it, too. Like, he bragged about it. Wait, what? Time check just to remind Ted was not a good person because of his industrial society bad takes. I mean, like, he didn't necessarily have, like, utterly horribly bad takes necessarily with shit like that. He had I mean, he wasn't like an Amprim, and also not a lefty or anything like that. He was pretty reactionary and, yeah, obviously unhinged and a shitbag. And not defendable. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, at least when it comes to certain aspects about, like, industrialism or other shit, I mean, it doesn't inherently mean that, like, you know, he's, like, just utterly fucking wrong. I'd say he's, like, 15% correct about, you know, some elements, and then, like, everything else is just, like, incoherent, just ridiculous bullshit. For not wanting to go Amprim. But he doesn't even like Amprims. He's not, like, he's not somebody... Dude, he hated imprims, too. He thought they were stupid. And thought it was, like, a false ideology. So, I mean... So, like, he wasn't an imprim. Discussing Lucas attributing society's issues to leftists. He defines leftists mainly socialist, collectivist, politically correct type, feminist, gay, disability activists, animal rights activists, and the like. Believes that over socialization and feeling inferiority are primary drivers to leftism, and derides it as one of the most, which I disagree with, by the way. And derides it as one of the most widespread manifestations of craziness. Well, yeah, well, that's why, you know, I don't agree with him with that, obviously, because he's, you know, a reactionary when it comes to these ideas. At that, the movie envisions must be anti-leftist and refrain from collaboration with leftists as to view leftists along. This is what I mean. Like, I knew this. I already know this. The long run inconsistent with wild nature, the human freedom with the elimination of Martin. Which also, like, I mean, is also, like, kind of, like, I mean, is, the thing is, at least for me, leftism isn't something that, in the long run, is inconsistent with quote-unquote, like, wild nature or human freedom. Like, I mean, if anything, it would, one, maximize human freedom, and also, like, inconsistent with, like, I mean, a lot of leftism is also about privatization of the environment because of, you know, capitalistic destruction of the environment. So, it's just like, I mean, Again, it's just incoherent. He also criticizes conservatives, describing as fools who whine about the decay of traditional values, yet enthusiastically support technological progress and economic growth. Which, again, it's just like, I mean, it's just kind of partly incoherent. I mean, I don't necessarily honestly disagree with, you know, the first half of that. Yeah, they are fools who whine about the decay of traditional values. I mean, that's kind of what I mean. Like, some elements about, you know, his philosophy, you know, tend to be agreeable, but, like, how... like, you know, he thinks, you know, people should go about that shit is like, that's pretty much, like, that's why I say, like, 50% of it is kind of correct, because it's more or less just kind of, like, saying, like, yeah, you know, right-wingers are, well, fools who whine about decay traditional values. Well, yeah, honestly, that's true. They are. I mean, you know, I mean, they are. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And, I mean, you know, and also the thing with leftists, I mean, defines them as mainly socialist, collectivist, politically correct types, feminist, gay, disability activists, animal rights activists, and the like. I mean, also there. I mean, not necessarily wrong, either. I mean, because, yeah, most leftists tend to be any of those type of labels, to an extent. I mean, so... I mean, you know, it's like there are... That's why I say at least there are some elements that I could see about, you know, the philosophy, like, okay, you know, but... like, the incoherent, like, oh, well, fuck all that shit, we just literally need to basically go back to, like, pre-sentient primordial ooze or something. It's just like, nah. Like, that's where he's wrong. Like, you could still critique modern technology where it's meritable, and a lot of the consequences, you know, about, like, aspects about some of our technology that we have, because there really is. I mean, there's, like, especially when it comes to certain industries, like the fossil fuel industry and shit like that. I mean, there's a lot of aspects about our technology that is destructive. And having criticisms about shit like that doesn't necessarily mean you'd be, like, you know, anti-technology. The left would adopt anti-tech stances. Well, the thing is, like, the left is so broad, like, there are some that do. Back to the ocean. I'm proposing a hard reset so we can retrace our steps and figure out where the fuck we went wrong. I think just leaving the oceans is where we went wrong. I think we need to, like, go back to the oceans, honestly. I think you're right. Because then we can start, you know, hanging out with the dolphins and being like, yo, how are you all living in equilibrium and just vibing and chilling, you know, and, like, slowly but surely adapt to the oceans, kind of like the whales, and like they did. And then, you know, at least the difference is we got opposable thumbs now, bitch. So when we evolve into the new ocean people, we got these thumbs, so we can literally establish a civilization. Because we already got some modern technology, we can, you know, maybe do some genetic, you know, engineering to maybe get some dolphins, you know, to get the same shit so they can have their own civilizations and have like, you know, a human dolphin hybrid society just hanging out and shit. Like I said, step 1, time travel, find out one caveman motherfucker like, haha, fired him! No, never catch on! Yep, that's him. Nail him. And then you just get someone who looks like caveman, like, oh no, it just grabs him by his fucking locks, you know, his locks of hair. It just literally just like, throws him, and then just like, raw! And then just like, literally like, boom! Like he's about to like, you know, break a fucking log with a, you know, one of those like wood chopping axes. It just like decks him right in the fucking fire, and then just, you know, has him just burn, and then just like throws those logs right into, you know, right into those fucking, you know, fires, so he catch really quickly. Fire don't catch on, huh? Who dumb now? Let's see, Mac R worded by Cavemando or Cave Woman. I mean, I kind of feel like that would be too disrespectful to the cavemen, though. What if he like gets like that Mount Walsh juice all up in him, dude? I mean, you don't want like, you know, any of his like fluids or anything on you. I mean, you don't want that. Like, I mean, that would be disrespectful to our ancestors. Don't do that. I mean, just have him literally get like fucked to death by like a mammoth trunk or something. Like, have a mammoth that's like tamed by like some sort of like Neanderthal tribe. Just literally take his trunk and just like fuck, like, you know, like getting fisted or some shit. Just like, you know, literally motor fisted to death with that trunk. Very visceral and very brutal, and, you know, even grotesque even, I know, but it needs to happen. How far would we be? We'd be like intergalactic, like, civilization. We literally would just be an intergalactic civilization. I guess not the societal, but it makes up a good chunk of it. It's about like 75% of societal's ills. Actually, 50% of it. You want to know what the other 50% of it is, though? Capitalism. And they tend to be bonded in matrimony anyway. So, they go hand in hand a lot. So, I mean, if anything, realistically, both of them are probably like, you know, 60 to 70%. But there's like that 20 to 10% that overlap. Let the Greeks have the gods. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, me neither. Do you realize that, like, the Greeks had gods that were literally, like, transformed to different animals to literally rape other things and other people? Like, Zeus literally would, like, is, like, a fuck god. And also a rape god. I happen to enjoy the Greek gods. There's still the whole ritual sacrifice thing they did. Yeah, there's that too. I don't think, you know, having a ritual sacrifice is good. We don't need no ritual sacrifices. I feel like I would do similar things if I had divine power. Well, let's make sure that you don't, you know, end up having power then. That's not gonna happen. Like, maybe toe down the R wording. Someone was making this shit up. And get this, Dolphin Zeus was fucking a zebra, was also his sister. And yeah, and you know what? Like, that also has to say something about the fucking Greek sexuality, too. Like, why were Greeks thinking about shit like that? You wanna know the worst thing about Norse mythology? Loki became a female horse so he could get fucked by a horse and birthed Sleipnir. Like, that's really not that bad. That was consensual, at least. It's so weird, but at least it's consensual. I mean, but the Greeks, there ain't no consent with a lot of that weird sex. That's all just rape. The Greeks are all about their weird, like, bestial rape and shit going on, dude. And, like, trans-special, like, rape and divine god rape and shit. Like, that's just what, like, Greek mythology is. Like, rape the mythology. It's just like, well, do we really want that? We can only have implied incest. We gotta go overt. Yeah, that's like the Greeks. Like, we gotta go overt with our, you know, bestial, like, weird, incestual, like, divine, trans-special god rape. We gotta go overt with that. I honestly don't even think, like, you know... I don't even honestly think that, you know, these, like, other mythologies have shit like this. I think Greeks are just kind of unique about this. It's just, it doesn't affect gods. How do you know that? You don't know that. So it's effectively okay? No. It's not. In Christianity, I was referring to Locke and his daughters. Oh, there's also Christianity. Oh, yeah, you're right. Which is also rape. Fuck. God damn it. I can hear the banjos when I go by Olympus. It's just that, but it's like Greek instead, somehow.
Between the cosmic wake of 1,000 solar nightmares, chaos.
They come out of divine like their parents instead of abominations. What up? What's up, Drew? Or Fred Durst. Hey, Venom. Fred Durst is now in here instead. He's now one of you. You know what? Let's smack down some chow mein real quick. Having a quick mukbang. It's our Lord's Prayer. Let's smack on this chow mein. That's just all it is, so it's chow mein. Show him. Nice. Nice. Oh my god, maybe I filled this up too much. Holy shit. So it's doing better? That's good. I look like a tricky dick. Like a certain president. A certain what? Huh? Are you saying I look like Nixon? How in the fuck do I look like Richard Nixon from Futurama? The fuck? You just have an aura of a Richard. Well, I don't. Because I'm not no tricky dick. And also, how isn't like an aura, you know, looking like a certain, like how's that even make sense? I mean, because it literally don't. Like, I actually have to, like, have some sort of, like, physical, like, resemblance in order to, like, look like something. Put that over there. It was smacked down on some of that. I was compelled. You have a strong pirate energy. Oh, I can just see it. Because honestly, like, I kind of feel like I probably would be. Either that or like a Robin Hood type of character for sure. Like a Robin Hood-esque pirate. I mean, honestly, most certainly. I mean, that is like, I mean, I feel like at least, especially, if anything, like, out of all the karaokes, you know, that I, you know, do and shit, the Ailstorm ones are the ones I feel like I do, like, kind of the best, so to speak. Gonna be around with a belt full of muskets and your lucky sword. And, like, a gigantic fucking blunderbuss on my back that I could just, like, shwak, kaboom, kaboom, you know, just so I could just, like, you know, fuck your shit up. I mean, I do have a tricorn that has, like, you know, an ability to have some patches, so I could put, you know, my banner on my back, you know, on the back of the hat and everything. I don't have it in here, but it's in my room.
By the power of the Holy King of Onstarus, for the glory of Dundee, to win the big battle, in his power he must rise to set us free.
Doggo and dog. The dog. Oh, that little handsome boy is just chilling over here. Look at him. Look at his little ball.
In Vulpes we trust.
Oof. Oh, look at the little face. Look at the little face. Oh my goodness. What a little goof. What a goofy baby. Miss that shithead. Aww. And he has actually been a shithead. I had some chicken nuggies that I had set aside for lunch. I left them in there, unfortunately, and when I came back, guess who got into them? That fucker. Your pirate title shall be Captain Wolfsbane, and your ships will be the Black Fang. Wolfsbane? Well, I mean, I'm a husky, not a wolf. I mean, Wolfsbane works better than Huskybane. So, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, I guess I can see why that. Close enough? Yeah, I guess close enough. I mean, my whole, like, music project concept is basically, like, a fox instead. Yeah, like, ascended, like, stellar, like, quasi-god, you know, fucking fox, you know, that, you know, so, I mean, you know, it's like, I mean, that ain't a husky either, so there's that. If you want a good 40k story, look up the Fall of Cadia. In past spoiling too much, I'll say the planet broke before the guard did, and was the space marine station there, just regular humans. Well, I'm not really involved in Warhammer 40k lore, so I don't care if you spoil it.
Masters of the galaxy, the lords of space domain, moving warriors of reality, one place that never ending. We are the masters of the galaxy, the lords of space domain, the warriors of reality, knights of evil arise.
I don't get deep into Warhammer because the community's fucking awful. Is it? Fox, fine. Well, I don't think Captain Fox will intimidate a lot of people. So how about Captain Rabbit Red and your ship can be called the Silver Fox? Well, I mean, like a cosmic fucking, like, ascended, like, stellar fox, basically. I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, I mean, you got that going on. I don't think I've actually shared a view yet, Rose. I don't know if you were in here when I was talking to Venom a little bit at the very beginning, but I'm kind of expanding into this whole, like, you know, music project idea I've been kind of wanting to do. Where I kind of wanted to, like, use a little bit of, like, the Star Fox universe, so to speak, to expand on it. And I've actually kind of, you know, built somewhat of an outline to kind of start with it, so to speak, right here. And kind of delved with a few other premises here too as well, including, like, at least a page, you know, for some different name ideas, which I haven't really settled on any of that yet. And honestly, a lot of it is mostly just researching, you know, the basic early story of Star Fox. A lot of it's just researching that shit right now. And oh my god, there is a fuckload of shit, dude. Like, there really is. It's like, there's a lot of stuff, especially with, like, you know, the original Star Fox 64, and some of the comments that kind of pertain around that era and shit. Like, there's a lot of stuff. I don't have much of a background on Star Fox. Well, I mean, I played a lot of Star Fox growing up, like, especially Star Fox 64. Like, I played a shitload of that as a kid growing up. So, I mean, I kind of have a background with it, and it's kind of why I chose it a little bit. I mean, it's literally not because, oh, pearls. It's literally not that. It's like, I actually do have somewhat of a legitimate, like, you know, some knowledge about it, and kind of have an understanding around it. But, like, I wasn't really, like, in depth with, like, the lore about Star Fox, because at least, you know, out of all the Nintendo properties, like, that's the one that has a consistent story. And, it's actually really in depth. Like, it's more in depth than I really thought. I'm just like, oh, fuck. So I kind of realized, at least especially for this concept album that I want to start with, the first little, like, third of it is basically going to be doing the storytelling of at least, you know, some of that first chunk of, you know, the Star Fox lore, and then expanding it and kind of going from there, and kind of basically using that as kind of the template, you know, from going forward with it. With kind of like a different character that, you know, kind of like evolves in a sense, I guess, like a Pokemon, you know, to keep with the Nintendo, you know, idea, I suppose. You know, with, you know, like, Fox McCloud, where he has the like, where McCloud is still in there as a name, but, you know, at least that part of it's going to be there still, but, I mean, he kind of, like, ascends into a different character, so to speak, where, you know, his real Destiny journey begins, so to speak. It's an alternative timeline idea, essentially, where he goes into, like, a different dimension due to, you know, like, the big bomb that Andros, you know, was trying to, you know, kill Fox with, which, at least, you know, with the concept album, that actually happens. But instead of his dad's spirit, you know, helping him survive, he actually, like, guides him through, like, you know, the realm of, like, you know, heroes or whatever the fuck. I haven't really thought of an idea about that quite yet, where he ascends into, you know, like a more powerful being, essentially, and goes back to the realm of reality where he can actually achieve, you know, his real destiny or some shit. Like, I'm kind of going cheesy with it, but that's kind of the point. Like, I mean, I want it to be a little cheesy. Like, there needs to be at least a nice garnish of cheese. It's cringe. Well, the thing is, it's meant to be, like, you know, a template. Like, the broader thing is that, like, you know, the one main character is the only real thing that's gonna keep moving forward. Like, everything else don't really mean shit. It's just that, at least, you know, for the whole first thing that I'm doing here, I kind of have to at least, you know, build this template to establish it with, to kind of go forward with it before I really think about what I want to do with that shit. Like, I mean, I haven't thought about that part quite yet, or that broader transitional phase period as much. Like, I mean, I just kind of, you know, got the outline started. I literally just, like, put all that up, like, you know, throughout the day earlier. Because I wrote shitload of shitty fanfiction as a teenager. This is, oh my god, you were literally here earlier. I just said it's a fucking broader outline. Like, what you think, you know, like, you know, these extensive, like, you know, in-depth fucking stories happen, you know, just, like, right off the fucking bat. Like, I mean, there's an outline and, you know, there's, like, a basic kind of, like, you know, spitball of, like, you know, where you kind of want to go with it. And, you know, and it kind of goes from there. Like, I'm at the spitball phase and the outline phase. Like, I mean, honestly, it might change. I might honestly just, like, kind of go different. I'm gonna post it to your Tumblr page. I don't even have a Tumblr. Is this another little dog on me? Oh my god. You know what? Now I'm just gonna keep going with this shit just to, like, you know, prove a fucking point that this could sound pretty fucking epic, okay? I can make it, like, you know, alright. He's gonna post it to fanfiction.net. It's meant to be like a concept album, my dude. Like, it's, like, if anything, it's gonna be posted on here, maybe at least on a separate channel, just so it's at least easier to find, you know? So, I don't know, like, it honestly, dead ass would just be, like, here. It'll be on YouTube. Because it's gonna be songs. Like, and broadly, like, an album. It's not going to be a fucking, like, you know, some, like, you know, literal, like, story I'm writing. The story is going to be in the lyrics. I mean, a lot of the whole outlines and detail points that will be written in that thing is not gonna, like, it's more, you know, to kind of collect the thoughts. Like, yeah, I mean, a lot of the real building of all this is going to be in the lyrics and in the music itself. I mean, that's why I said it's a spitball, you know, fucking, like, phase of things right now. Because the whole actual, like, you know, creation of, like, the story hasn't even started. I'm literally just in the research phase. Like, I have to, like, you know, establish, you know, what is, you know, going to be used, which is already established. And then, you know, finding a way to, you know, use that as a way to break away, you know, to establish a, you know, different timeline, or at least a different, you know, framework, so I have total full creativity, at least, you know, with the template that I got. So then it's not just like, you know, stealing a property in a way. It's, you know, it's more of taking, like, homage towards it at that point. I mean, because that's kind of the intent. It's more of like, you know, not trying to like copy, you know, in a sense. I mean, it's trying, like, that's kind of like I said, it's the whole spitball phase, because it's trying to at least take a, you know, a concept that already does exist, but kind of, you know, change it up a bit and make it a different thing. And just kind of create a whole new universe out of that, essentially. Because the whole idea, I mean, if it actually works out enough, the whole idea is that essentially it's just going to be in a different universe, basically. Still the same main character, you know, but it's just going to be in a totally different place. I've written a lengthy novel, a novel-length story once. Couldn't publish it because I stole a lot of shit blatantly, but I did get me an A on a writing assignment. Yeah, I mean, I haven't, like, done full-on novel-length stuff, but, I mean, I have definitely, you know, like, written various different short stories, at least in high school. Some of them are at least not too bad from what I remember, though that's probably just memory, you know, coloring that up. But I know a lot of them were legit pretty cringe. I actually remember that with my friend Mentalty, we never finished them, we never completed them, but we tried to challenge each other, like, to try to make the most grotesque fucking, like, short story, like, to each other. And, like, honestly, like, I mean, I never completed it, and he never did either, but at the time I thought, like, hell yeah, this is like, you know, fucking, like some grotesque Rule 34 NSFW fucking shit right here, but now looking back at it, it probably is literally the most cringiest fucking shit that has ever existed. I'm glad it never was finished. I don't even remember what was in it, I just know that was the whole premise. I've had a good concept, I think, but the execution was clumsy. Yeah. That's kind of the thing, like, I mean, you know, like, I feel like, honestly, this, especially, you know, with, Ignore gets drunk and finishes it, what, my whole thing? What, like, what, I just start writing lyrics and shit? And, like, you know, just, like, literally write a whole concept album literally in one night? I mean, it's not impossible, but, I mean, I'm not doing that tonight. Amateur Sonic fanfic writer cracks fingers. Oh, God. You know what? At least I never fucking, you know, decided to use Sonic as a fucking, you know, premise, you know, to start, like, you know, some shit. Look at the damn kitten and Signar. And, you know, fuck those kittens! Savage Kitten Wars. Got some kittens. Got a fucking kitten! No! No. Shut up! Aww. What a little bye-bye. Oh my god, that fucking face! Oh my god. Alright, I've melted. That face has melted me. Oh my god. Oh my god. What do you think of Lynn Peterson running against Lynn Peterson? I actually don't know much about who that is. I'm assuming you probably, you know, would know more at this point. So. But, you know what? I'm in favor of it because fuck Lori Chavez Demur, or whatever cunt's name is. Fucking right-wing chud fuck. I am still butthurt that fucking Jamie McLeod Skinner lost against her. I am still butthurt over that. Head of Metro, I think she's mad, but not nearly as bad as Schrader. Is there anyone else that is running potentially? Or is she pretty much the only one? Because I hope there's others. Because I mean, we should let Greg Abbott run for president. Honestly, I hope Trump, doesn't go to prison, at least, for until one of the primaries happens. Just so he can go up to Greg Abbott, just take his wheelchair and just fucking roll him off the stage. Just roll him off the debate stage and have him just literally just fall off and just I just want Trump to do that. So that Abbott could get, yeah. But also just so Trump could just roll him off the stage and have him fall 10 feet. Because fuck that piece of shit. Fucking cuntbag motherfucker. Obviously, I got no love for that guy. Jordan Peterson made a hilarious endorsement of him. What? What the fuck, really? I mean, my lord. Spread the Republican vote as much as possible. I'd kind of rather Trump have it, though. Just because, it's not going to DeSantis or anyone else. Because, DeSantis is pretty much the only one that has, any amount to support. Trump voters are switching to a boot. Yeah, exactly. Yo, you're not taking her easy? Oh, yeah. Republic cunt. What's the difference? Say it correctly. Again, what's the difference? Is there really that much of a difference there? Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. All the same shit. All the same shit, I say. This difference is cunts is a good thing. Calls demon rats. Well, at least I am a demon. Or at least I'm willing to own up to that idea. It's you know what? I'm a demon? No, fuck it. Yeah, I am. What are you gonna do about it, bitch? Sassy demon. Sassy little femboy demon. That's what you got, bitch. Like rats? Yeah. Rats can be cute. And all that shit. So, what's wrong with them? For our market so many times. So I kind of embrace the whole thing personally. But that's just me. Because, if they really want to, be you're a demon rat or whatever the fuck, and it's you know what? Then, yeah, you know what? Fine, I am. Fuck you, how about that? It's yeah, I am then. Oh. Here. You want to see something that's kind of funny? Well, it ain't, but it is. Here. Let's do some reacts. Let's check out shit.
First of all, the New York Post covered this story. Horrific video shows nearly 40 teens viciously attacking off-duty Marines on California beach.
A mob of teens, a mob of zoomies. 40 zoomies just unleashed on 3 Marines. What could have happened here?
40 teenagers got together and literally beat the shit out of some fucking Marines, okay? And it turns out The teenage...
Aren't the Marines supposed to be able to, like, defend, you know, like, the nation and, like, be, like, the baddest of the bad, and then, like, 40 teenagers just fucking, like, curb flexed on their asses?
Got together again. Not only did they deliver an ass whooping, but they fucking got together and literally compiled data and information to show that the Marines were actually asking for it. Okay? The teens in question not only beat up these Marines, they have now compiled...
One V40. It's 3 V40. There was 3 of them.
Compelling dossier of video evidence and testimony suggesting these guys were going around groping young girls and got what they deserved.
So, like, you know, I kind of watched some of this a little bit. Well, not watch. I more listened to it when I was kind of at work a bit. But, yeah, I listened to kind of, like, the first little chunk. So, like, there, you know, to be kind of specific, you know, these dudes were basically, like, hanging around, you know, at this beach, you know, openly, you know, drinking and, you know, trying to get, you know, getting drunk and hanging around, like, purposely, like, around, like, different teenagers and shit, where, you know, they're trying to essentially stir shit up. And also, we're sexual harassing and overtly groping / like, smacking the asses of different teenage girls and shit that happen to be around there. That's why they got their fucking asses beat, by the way. Like, those teenagers, when the whole ass slapping started happening and shit, like, that's when they started beating their asses. Like, so, like, those 40 teenagers whipping these 3 motherfuckers up, like, it's actually a good thing. It's actually where mob justice is actually fucking justified.
New video shows Marines at California beach party before being beaten by a mob of teens. The New York Post loves writing stories like this.
Knowing how bad shit is there. Oh, and I'm not going to say it yet, but I have mentioned the place before. But there are certain forts and certain camps that are in the United States that are notorious for things like sexual harassment, abuse, rape, suicide, all that shit. And one of them is going to be mentioned.
Video shows nearly...
I'll pause it and, you know, let you know when it is. But, well, prison. Well, you got the first letter right.
Viciously attacking off-duty Marines on a California beach. Horrific, guys. This is a...
Which, by the way, he literally charged and assaulted her, too. And the reason why she did that, by the way, is because the clip didn't show it. But he slapped her ass. And she's underage minor. And this entire fucking crowd of teenagers just start whooping ass.
They just beat the fucking doors off of these goddamn Marines, dude. Shocking video has captured a mob of up to 40 teenagers viciously beating a trio of off-duty Marines. So originally they covered the story as like, oh, these guys are going crazy. And now viral footage shows the Marines enjoying time off for Memorial
Pennsylvania? No.
Day weekend, being followed by the baying mob while walking towards San Clemente Pier Bowl late.
It's like they messed with a wasp hive. Yeah, it's like, here, let's poke a hornet's nest of angsty teenagers by slapping some ass. Oh, oops. Got, like, basically the equivalent of, like, Asian giant hornets literally fucking destroying the fuck out of us.
We told them we were Marines, so they would leave, but they didn't. They just kept going at it, one of the attacked servicemen, Hunter Antonino, told KCAL News. As they started walking up some steps, some in the group behind them yelled for them to get the fuck out of here before one runs up from behind and sucker punches the trailing serviceman. After a brief hesitation, the Marine drops what's in his hands and charges his attacker, knocking him down. This is what happened to one of the Marines.
Literally fetal position.
Orange County Sheriff's Department initially estimated 10 to 30 teens and young adults were involved, but the footage suggests about 40 were involved. Instantly, the mob swarms around him, throwing wild punches and screaming abuse. Get that fucker, fuck that fucker up. One of the attackers repeated.
Like they won't show up armed next time. It's California. Yeah. Like, do you really think they got that ability? It's California. They're cucked. Like, when it comes to, like, you know, gun rights, they're cucked as fuck, bro. Like, you like, they can't do that. They might have exceptions because they're military service members, but even then, they still have very strong, you know, like, restrictions about what the fuck they're doing with that, you know, when it comes to their firearm. Have guns. They're off duty. They're not, like, you know, active, you know, in that sense. They're, like, you know, off the clock. You know, that's why they're at the beach and getting drunk. So, like, they're, you know, they're going to be in their fatigues. They're not going to be, like, in their kit. Which, you know, like, there's a lot of, I mentioned it before, it's kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but, like, I mean, I watched some of these, like, you know, like, former, you know, like, you know, or, like, you know, these vets and shit who are former military members that have talked about, like, you know, some of their experiences and shit, or at least, you know, some of the legit, like, details about these type of things, and, you know, when it comes to, like, even soldiers who are, like, off the clock, you know, even if they're not, like, you know, active service members anymore, but they still are, but just not, like, you know, active, so to speak, you know, and, like, you know, where they're all kitted up and, like, you know, ready, you know, to go on deployment or some shit, like, you know, they're on their day off and shit. You know, it's like, there's still very strict things where they have to make sure that their gear and their kit is turned in, you know, for the time being, you know, where once they're back at camp, you know, they can pick it back up. But prior to that, like, I mean, they're just literally going to be in their fatigues. Like, you know, when it comes to, like, your kit and shit, that includes your fucking firearms, and there's an armory where that shit gets turned into. Like, I mean, and if anything's unaccounted for, there's a lot of serious ramifications, especially when it comes to a gun in the military being not accounted for when it comes to something like an armory. Like, you just don't get away with shit like that. So, like, when it comes to soldiers who are on their off time, they're not carrying guns unless it happens to be their own personal piece and they happen to just live, you know, near the actual camp, you know, or the actual fort. You know, it's like if they happen to live nearby or some shit, then, you know, that could probably be understandable. But if they're not, they ain't gonna have access to their own personal guns, so they ain't gonna have anything. So it's just like, I mean, they're just gonna be in their fucking fatigues.
The attack marine and one of his pals,
not different Californians, but you could take a gun home and carry it off duty as long as you're in your uniform. Well, I haven't heard that before. But that just definitely seems a little like, Knives are also a possibility. I mean, sure. But it's more likely that the teenagers are going to have that more than the fucking Marines. And if they did, obviously they didn't use it. None of the knives were used if any of the teenagers happen to have any on them. Because they decided to use their feet and fists. And give them an ass whooping.
Into a fetal position on the ground, their hands and arms covering their head.
And also, they're not even in uniform. They're just, like, in casual, like, summer clothes. Like, shorts and tank tops. Like, so they're not even in fatigues. They're just in their shorts and, you know, summer clothes and stuff. So, you know, they're not even in uniform.
The mob could use a kick and stomp them. Here, let's watch this footage.
A Marine combat knife would be far more dangerous than a pocket knife. And yet, this Marine got bitch made, and he wasn't even in uniform. Like, these guys weren't even in uniform when this happened. Which, honestly, you know what? Like, I kind of wish they were.
Here, let's watch this footage.
It'd be even more embarrassing.
My face still had, like, blood all over it. It wasn't cool at all.
3 local Marines are recovering from an attack by a large...
And look how this media, like the local media is portraying this. They're portraying them as like the poor, unfortunate victims and heroes, you know, in this situation. Even though they were sexually harassing underage girls.
In San Clemente. It happened Friday night near the pier. Disturbing video shows 2 of the Marines taking cover on the ground as they're being repeatedly kicked in the head and upper body.
Wait, they all had their phones out too? That's fire. They literally were just like filming as they were beating the dude's asses. That's crazy.
The Orange County Sheriff's Department is working to track down the culprits.
Damn.
This is considered an assault with a deadly weapon because of the amount of suspects that we are investigating. The weapons that were used were their feet while these victims were on the ground.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. What the fuck? Like, bro, nah.
Dude, no, you can't say that. It's like, I'm taking away your seriousness card. You can't say that.
Was it worth charges? I mean, it's like, whatever. Nah.
They were using their deadly weapon.
Maybe. Sure. Have any of them been charged? No. Look how these Marines were treated. Yeah, what? How about the high suicide rates in homeless among veterans? Crickets. Yeah, exactly.
Their feet. They were using their feet. These teenager feet. It was deadly.
Yeah, dude. Since when are like teenagers' feet deadly weapons? I'm pretty sure teenagers getting killed by guns is more of a deadly weapon than their fucking feet.
Using it in a deadly manner. Multiple people called the cops and none came. A similar incident happened a previous weekend and cops didn't show up either.
So regardless if the victim...
Wait, hold up. You said the only thing surprising is that no one had a gun? California.
Choose
Exactly, California.
prosecution or choose medical attention, the sheriff's department is going to investigate this to the fullest and try to determine who the suspect
Like, California, unironically, is pretty cucked when it comes to, like, gun ownership. Like, they are, honestly, as I say, like, the example of, like, going, personally, in my opinion, way too fucking far on certain things. Like, I mean, there's, I will see it on, like, online shops where you can order firearms there and shit. Obviously, they have to be, you know, transferred to an FFL dealer local in your area and shit, obviously, and stuff. But, like, sometimes I'll see California compliant, you know, guns and stuff. Oh my god. I'm just like, what the fuck? Because you can't have, like, a pistol grip on a rifle. So you have these weird California compliant, like, grips that... Honestly, I'm honestly confused how in the fuck you even hold it. Like, how in the fuck do you even hold a California compliant gun with, like, that weird, like, because you have to, like, hold it like this, basically. It's like, how, like, it's like, what the fuck? Like, you don't even hold a bolt action or, like, you know, one of those, like, you know, like, rifles and shit that aren't, like, pistol grips. Like, you hold them like this, not like this weird fucking, like, it's so weird. It's SBR, quote unquote pistol to SBR conversion kits. It dumb, stupid. Again, it's something that I think is honestly kind of dumb. Because the thing is, like, I mean, it's basically like, oh, you know, you basically have a pistol that has, like, you know, a barrel length that is, like, slightly, you know, shorter than an average rifle, and you have, like, you know, a little, like, retractable buttstock on it or something. It's sometimes not even that. And suddenly, it's like, it's a full-on rifle. It's like, It's like, I'm pretty sure it has a different classification. Like, they usually are called carbines or SBRs. Like, I mean, there's, it's like, like, it's, oh my god. Honestly, like, I mean, some of the weird, like, classifications and thus, like, rules around that is so weird, broad, and vague and shit. It gets kind of ridiculous, you know, when it comes to, like, certain shit, you know, like, because, like, basically having, like, you can have, like, because there's also, like, full-on rifles that you can have, like, a carbine version where essentially it would be considered a pistol because it's less than rifle length, which is, I think, 16 inches or 14 inches. And if it's shorter than that, then suddenly it's considered a pistol or an SBR, and you have to, like, go for an extra rigmarole over that. And it's just like, I mean, it's like, it's still a rifle, it just has a shorter barrel. It's like, I mean, what the hell? Just seems like, you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, it's just extra, like, overly complicated where it doesn't really need to be. It's like, I don't think, you know, there shouldn't be restrictions, obviously. I mean, there should, but sometimes they get overly complicated and they get, like, unnecessarily bureaucratic, though. I mean, that's just, you know, that's my thing about it. It's like, you know, we can most certainly have efficient, you know, gun regulation shit, but sometimes it just gets overtly bureaucratic and just, like, overly complicated for no fucking reason. Because, frankly, people making those laws just really don't understand what, you know, a lot of the more nuances about some of these things.
And two buddies were enjoying time off from Camp Pendleton at one of their favorite spots near the...
Oh, by the way, there was the name. Here, I'll play it back just so...
One of the Marines says he and two buddies were enjoying time off from Camp Pendleton at one...
Camp Pendleton. So, that name is, like, when it comes to being notorious for, like, sexual abuse, suicide, and depression, and all these different things, like, that are, you know, kind of, you know, that are legit problems in the military, there are a few names that are really big when it comes to being notorious for shit like that. there's places like Fort Hood, and then there's places like Fort Pendleton. And Pendleton's one of them. And I guarantee you that, these dudes are probably, one of these motherfuckers that, exacerbate that fucking problem. 100%. Because that type of shit, when it comes to a lot of different, higher-ups in chain of command and shit, sometimes they'll, implicitly kind of, say, hey, this type of behavior is okay to a lot of, people, on the lower levels and shit. And reciprocate a lot of this type of behavior. And even other service members and shit, especially, female service members, that are in the service that happen to be stationed there, are, have a lot of fucking different cases and instances rife of fucking abuse and rape and sexual assault, and suicide as well. Like, it's legitimately not uncommon for just random bodies, to pull, to turn up, like a mile, outside of this fucking camp, of just somebody, that just got abused and shit and was just like fucking, left for the cracks, and if anything, fucking, shut down, if they try to say anything. Like, Pendleton, like, that place especially is fucking notorious. It is bad. And so the only reason why I know is because, there's just, it's all sorts of different accounts from different fucking, service members. There's, like, articles about this shit. Like, it's kind of like an open secret fucking thing, basically. It's bad. It really is. Like, Pendleton is one of those fucking places. Not every fucking, camp or it's like that, but, like, honestly, straight up, like, Pendleton, Hood, there's a few other places I don't remember right off the top of my head, but there's a little handful that are dotted throughout the country, and Pendleton in California is one of them that is notoriously fucked, for a lot of different reasons. And Pendleton's got it's got its reasons, Hood's got their own reasons. They all have their reasons as to why they're fucked, and they all usually overlap anyway.
Favorite spots near the San Clemente Pier when 30 to 40 kids showed up on the beach. This is video from a resident who says he called deputies multiple times about the unruly crowd. According to the injured Marine, the teenagers lit off fireworks, and when debris hit him in the face, he politely asked them to leave.
And they were lighting off.
Yeah, that's not the real story.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Turns out there's more to this story, but here, let's hear how the Marines talked about it.
Fireworks, they were being belligerent, they were being obnoxious and annoying other people, so we went up to them, told them to stop.
And that's when he says the crowd followed them over to the pier and things turned.
Rare Hassan Abi El here, when you think they couldn't have died if they got kicked hard enough. No, they...
Oh, someone eggs his house, and if really familiar wants to... Yeah, eggs expired. I feel ya.
What do you mean? But escalating it to an assault with a deadly weapon because, they were getting fucking stomped on when, mob justice was being served towards an unruly group of Marines that, turns out, were doing significantly more than just walking around and getting fucking attacked is ridiculous.
If anything, they were attacking people by sexually assaulting girls and shit.
Beat up and stomped on. There are 2 city cameras here on the site of Fisherman's Restaurant that may have captured what went on here Friday night. The mayor tells me that the city's IT staff is working right now to get those images to Sheriff's Department investigators.
Whatever happened to Egging Man? I get eggs are expensive, but tomatoes would work fine. Yeah, I could think of a few houses personally that could use a good egging. But, I'd have to definitely be quick about it for sure.
I made a comment during our speech here at the community.
Dude, this is what they mean when they say, are they them military? Is
the White House? Yes. Though I feel like I would get sniped by the Secret Service if I started doing that. I feel like literally a Secret Service sniper would just be like, just like, just get knocked right out. I'd just be done. Just blacked out. Just dead. Murked. Just utterly murked. But I definitely think that if, I could think of, there's a few houses that I know that are, conservative, weird dorks. And, I could definitely, egg them. Like, there's a house that I kind of walk by to go to my mom's, like, rehab place that she's at. And, unironically, like, it has a, you know, only you can prevent socialism. And it has, like, Smokey the Bear with a hat that says CAG on it. Keep America Great. And honestly, I want to egg the fuck out of that fucking house. And take their flag and burn it, frankly. I want to take that, like, Smokey the Trump Bear and just burn it. Better than it. Because fuck that shit, dude. Like, I mean, what makes that acceptable to be viewed in public? The problem is, this is one of those motion sensor lights in here, so I'm just gonna have to egg it and just deal with that. And just accept that. Go medieval, throw some horse shit. Well, I mean, I would if there was a ranch that has some horses nearby. I can use dog shit. Would that work? I can use dog shit. That would, you know, I can, you know, do that and fuck up a house pretty good with that. I mean, would that work?
No fucking up the house.
I'm not talking. No, what?
The dog does not good enough by himself.
What? What the fuck are you even talking about? If you know what a conversation is, don't butt in. The irony of people hating socialism while enjoying aspects of it. Isn't that the sweet baby gain irony of it all?
Okay, our military is gay now. It's they, them. They can't even beat up 40 fucking teenagers. How are they gonna successful?
Biden administration made our Marines woke. They can't even stand up against a horde of extremist Taliban 40-year-old teenager extremists. They can't even go after 40 weird little teenager jihadi zoomy woke queer liberals. Our USMC gone woke, brother. Our USMC's woke. What happened? What happened to the initial 1st Marines Division? Where they were just, you know, battling out Peleliu and Guadalcanal and all that shit in Okinawa. Where was that shit? Oh, no. Now they just got wokeified. We soyed up the military. The military gone soy.
Defend American interests against enemies both domestic and foreign.
Community center where I said, look, this is San Clemente. Marines are always welcome here, always going to be celebrated, always taken care of, and that's why this is so particularly tragic.
Oh, that guy just wiggled.
That we were Marines, so they would leave, but they did. They just kept going at it.
In San Clemente, Michelle Geely, Kate.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Basically, like, I mean, I think there's like a clip that shows it. I think somewhere here, I think it's right in here. But like, there's a full clip of this shit where
in the viral video,
I mean, the dude literally
allegedly slapped the teenage girl's butt.
Oh, there you go.
Punched once, then punched a girl, which is when the group of teenagers began to beat the Marines. In this video, one Marine pushes a young freshman boy who then pushes the Marine back. The Marine pushes the boy again, this time much harder. Thankfully, another Marine holds his friend back before he has the opportunity to beat a young teenager. This story has been checked by numerous first-hand accounts and can be backed by the teenager that witnessed the fight. I like that this person goes, where are these kids' parents? They're fucking kids, man.
Dude, yeah, and also, like, I mean, yeah, where's their parents? It's like, I mean, you got, like, fucking, like, these weird-ass, like, you know, Marines trying to fucking, like, you know, essentially groom teenagers, you know, for whatever fucking weird shit they're wanting to do to them. And, you know, it's like, I mean, yeah, that ain't the problem, but, oh, these teenagers that are just out and about, you know, doing their own thing. It's like, yo, that's the problem. Like, I mean, notice how, like, pretty much, like, so much of this is portrayed that, like, the teenagers are somehow a fucking problem, but, like, not the Marines, you know, even though they literally are, like, fucking, like, unironically pedophilic in nature when it comes to, like, what they're doing. Like, you know, being around minors, drinking, you know, and trying to, like, you know, get them to do so as well. And, like, you know, slapping asses of, like, you know, random, like, teenage shit. It's like, they're fundamentally the fucking problem. And considering that it came from Camp Pendleton, it makes sense that, you know, that type of fucking behavior comes from their ass because, like, Pendleton is known for shit like that. I mean, unfortunately, it's a common fucking thing. It's like if a Onision joined the Marines. Yeah, I mean, honestly, basically, it's like, you know, 3 Onisions decided to fucking, you know, be in the Marines.
Around children.
But at least, you know, they got their fucking ass whooped.
Or behaving like...
And and for good reason, too. And that's why I said this is like where mob justice is justifiable. Because, like, if you got like, you know, a bunch of teenagers all hanging out, like, you know, like a gigantic fat, like, party of friends, essentially, and you got like these weird adults, you know, trying to like, you know, get all up in their shit, and, you know, even sexually and shit, like, yeah, they got every fucking right, you know, to start whooping ass. And you know what? Good on them for doing so. Sounds like they're doing more of their fucking patriotic duty than these fucking Marines ever could in their fucking life.
And your first thought is to literally go, wow, what about the parents of these children?
Better make sure that, no, you know, that they don't hear that, because they probably get fucking, you know, so triggered over that. That's one of his buddies holding him back.
His homie tries to hold him back immediately. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't have the full vid, but here's a pic of one of the Marines carrying me while I was blackout drunk. He was trying to make me go with him and the other Marines and got mad once my sister told him no. The next day he stalked my sister's snap maps and drove all the way to our friend's house and cussed us out when we told him to leave. I mean, I need more evidence than just this. You know what I mean? Wait, what is this?
Wait, what'd she say?
Where's the mom and the dad?
In the fucking house, and I'm gonna chase us out of the goddamn house.
Sounds like at least the audio to, like, that incident that they were talking about with him, like, going to their house. Dude, these dudes are fucking psychos. I mean, it's like, what the fuck? I mean, you know, and I love how, like, you know, like, all sorts of elements of media and shit, and because of that, just, like, different fucking morons, you know, just all like, oh, Marine, what? Okay, they're good. They're service members, they're problematic. It's like, man... It's like, you know, it's kind of nice at least that there is at least, you know, some comeuppance that they fucking got. It got fucked. Because, I mean, even if, like, you know, there's, you know, that bullshit, you know, being pertained around them, you know, like, from my understanding, there at least is, like, a legitimate investigation about, like, you know, what, you know, their, you know, like, what they did and what they were doing and shit. But they should be fucking arrested. Frankly, you know, teens had every right to defend themselves. I don't give a fuck if it was like, you know, some mob rule shit. Because as far as I'm concerned, it was meritable. Boo boo. What's it doing over there? Oh. Let's get some boy. Here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come here. It's right there for you. Come on. Come here. No. No. Come here. Hey. It's over here. Over here. Go get it. You just laid down. Why'd you lay down? What the fuck? Oi! Go get your treat. It's right there. Go get it. Go get it. Get the fuck a treat. Oh my god. We're watching Dank D&D and I wish they'd been doing more. Yeah, I kind of wish they did more. Fucking Stevie Sailing, man. It's been a long while since I've actually watched those, too. I watched them when they first came out, but it's been a while since I've last seen them. This dog is trying to grab a fly and he can't even grab it. It's too small. Yeah, it's too tiny, dude. Hey, Zooks. Come up here. Up. Up. Okay, hold on. Dude. Hey, come on. Come here. Come on. Get the fuck up. Oh, fuck me. Get over here. You're a piece of shit. Would you get over here? Hey! 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 You! Come here! Come here! 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 Oh, fuck! Oh, you bastard! No! Oh, you sneaker! You just snuck that fucking treat out of my hand! Oh, you little prick. Alright, eat it. Oh, did you eat all of it? Oh my god, you did. Okay. Alright, I'm picking you up. Alright. Accept your fate. Yeah. Okay, come on. Let's go. Let's do really high up so I don't knock you over and boom. Man. You're a fucking sneaker, you know that? Look at you. You're a jerk. Probably making it, and then teacher scared to smacks him upside. It's like, land ho, dumbass. Which episode was that one? I see, like, it's like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it. I don't want to play Pathfinder either. Well. I mean, I honestly would have friends to play D&D with, but I you know, weirdly enough though, I have not played D&D. I want to, honestly, but I just never have. I got squeezed you until you popped. Did you really not give a shit that just like bit your ear? Yeah, I bit your ear. What you gonna do? Such a goofball. What? Hey. Seven or eight of the first season. Yeah, so that's probably why I don't really remember as much. It's one of the early ones. Because fucking goofball. Boop. I like how I just fuck with him all, you know, all this time, and he just then does this and doesn't care. Oh. Then he does this. I don't know what he's trying to do here. He's trying to do something. I don't know what, but he's trying to do a thing. I think he just wants to flop. Just want to be a little flop. Is that what's going on? You just want to be a little flop monster. Oh my god, what the hell? Ugh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, what? What are you gonna do? Huh? Yeah. Oh my fucking lord. Hey! Got your tail all up in my weed. That wasn't cool. What the hell? Hey! What the fuck? Oh my lord. And, oh my god. Well, that was not... I hope that my hand was censoring out all that. Fucking ball malarkey. Man, what is wrong with you? I have to, like, what? Well, it's not my fault you don't really got much, like, fluffage. I have to, like, you fucking worm. I'm just gonna have my hands right here. Just so I can cup him in a little bowl. You're a fucking fruit. You're a goofball, you know that? And no one needs to see the plums, by the way. Really, no one needs to. And don't stick your fucking tail in my weed, you dick. What's wrong with you? What the hell's wrong with you? Huh? Alright. You little goof. There you go. Ugh. Ah, goofball. What a fruit. Hey, Gad, it's in there. Alright, fine. I was hoping it would stick your face in there, but I guess not. Aw, little bye-bye. Look at you. Hey. Good boy. Paw? That's not... What the hell is that? That wasn't a paw. That's not a paw either. Oh, okay. Paw. Ow! Jesus! Did you forget what a paw is? Because you're just doing like a fucking assault. He's just like... It's like, Jesus. Fucking crazy psycho butt. D&D does look fun. I don't know how to get freeform. You can get. From my understanding, I think that kind of depends on the Dungeon Master. Because, I mean, technically, I mean, a lot of the world and story is kind of built, you know, from them. And the characters are just kind of like, you know, subject to it. If I understand it all correctly. So, I mean, realistically, D&D is technically kind of built by whoever the DM is, but, you know, the characters are just kind of like a part of the story and, you know, build up and kind of help put a trajectory towards what that, you know, arc would look like. I mean, you know, like, so I don't know. I mean, I'd assume that, like, it just kind of depends on who you set it up with. I'm assuming, like, you know, to a certain extent, you know, some of them are probably freeform, some of them are probably more restrictive just because it's kind of more of a specifically set world or something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I assume it probably varies. I mean, I think that's kind of the whole thing that makes D&D fun. It's like, sometimes it could be, like, a very specific kind of world, or sometimes you just build it as you go. I mean... I think that's kind of the whole fun of it. It's like, I mean, sometimes it could be super freeform, and sometimes it could just be, like, freeform that's already set in a built world, or sometimes the DM has a very specific destiny for all the characters, and it's kind of, like, specifically arced, you know, to go a certain way, you know, like, or at least, you know, as much as possible. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that it just varies. But I think that's why I, you know, kind of wanted to try to get some of my friends together, or at least just do one. Just because I feel like, you know, like, it would probably be fun, especially considering that we'd probably just do a very loose rule-based type of thing. Just the basic foundations of D&D, but beyond, like, that, I mean, just have it pretty freeform as fuck. At least I personally would have it like that. There. Gotta spring a leak real quick, I'll be right back. Ugh.
Bobo, look at you. So cute. You just cute little goof.
Give me a little dog. Think healing potions taste good? I mean, if they're healing potions, I would hope so. I almost kind of feel like they would taste like some sort of like. I mean, obviously, but what the hell? What? I mean, I was assuming that they would taste medicinal, almost kind of like cough syrup in a way, but at least like flavorful enough to where it'll at least taste somewhat good. I guess like, you know, a kid's version of, you know, cough syrup where it has like a lot of flavor, like, you know, like a cherry or a grape or something. Even though that specific flavor of grape or cherry is really shit. I mean, at least I would imagine there's a more tolerable version of that flavor. Like the good aspects about those flavors, but not the bad, shitty, medicinal aspects about it. What the fuck? What? Do you mind? You got water. You filled up the food bowl earlier and you ate all of it, so that's on you. And the door's open, so if you need to take a poo, you can do that. So what the fuck? Shut up, dick. Oh fuck, I forgot to bring back the little packaged meats that I had saved for him. Oh my god. Hey! Hey! He's barking through the cat door. This what the fuck? Shut up! What's your deal? Hey! What? Yeah, what? What? Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, fuck you. How about that? Hey. Yeah, what? What do you get your soul rolled back for? Oh my fucking god. You heard you? Well, he's hearing something in there, evidently. This guy's ears all rolled back. He's barking through the cat door for some reason. Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty sure it's my dad, and I'm pretty sure he's either making himself some food or he tripped or something. I don't fucking know. He's being loud, okay? If what you're getting all in the Tootsie over is his ass, then you just shut the hell up. There's nothing to be fucking barking about, okay? There literally isn't. So chill the fuck out. Goddamn. You absurd ball of anarchistic, like, malarkey. Anarcho-monarchism, dude. That's what Zukov is about. He's an anarchist and a malarkeyist. An anarcho-malarkeyist, dude. Instead of being an anarcho-Bidenist, he's taking, like, the more extreme version of it. Anarcho-malarkeyism. See? That like, you think anarcho-Bidenism is bad? Woo-hoo! Wait until you get anarcho-malarkeyism. That's like a whole load of malarkey you don't even want, Jack. Listen, fat, you don't even want that. It'll blow a lung out with a 9mm if you get anywhere near that, Jack. No, listen, fat. No malarkey on that, Jack. Actually, fat, listen, fat. There should be a little bit of malarkey on that, Jack. Anarcho-malarkeyism. Of course there's malarkey on that, Jack. What am I talking about? You know the thing. If you don't like it, vote for the other Biden. My God. What a gaff machine. What a fucking gaff machine that he is. Okay, good. He's distracted. Fucking little mutt. Oh my God, was this the video that Kyle was looking? Not Kyle. That's fucking Rip City was looking at. When he was talking about Jordan Peterson. Oh my God. So wait, what the hell? Oh, did this? God damn it! Hold on. Hold up. I don't need to ear rape everybody with Kyle's succulent voice, because the microphone is like directly next to the speaker, and I don't need that. Okay. Full screen, bitch. And now we can get around. Because I actually want to see, is it a tweet or is it a video?
Has now come out and endorsed a presidential candidate, and oh boy, is this interesting for a number of reasons. So he says,
it's a tweet. The Epoch Times. Oh my God, of course it is. Former Vice President Mike Pence took the stage to define himself as a principled leader who has experience and character to dig the country out of domestic difficulties and reestablish the champion of freedom on the world stage. No, he doesn't. What? Like, oh my God. No. Like, oh my God. Yeah, I guess my dad gave up on that one. Anyway, so what did Jordan Peterson say? A Pence presidency will restore some normalcy that Mike Pence could relieve. Oh my God. I mean, I already know why. Jordan Peterson is like in this like Christo-fascistic like fundamentalist mysticism bent. Like, I mean, he's like gung-ho on that shit at this point. Like, I'm pretty sure he's just straight up like you know, Reformed Christian or some shit. Like, I really do think he is at this point. He just hasn't really overtly admitted that he is. Because, like, Mike Pence, well, what is he? He's a far-right, traditional Christian conservative type that, you know, like, is very civil and orderly and blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, he's pretty much everything that fucking Jordan Peterson, like, you know, fucking worships as like a weird bullshit ideology. So, I mean, honestly, you know, like, this totally makes fucking sense to me. Like, I mean, I'm not shocked at all. Just because, like, I mean, Mike Pence basically is literally, like, an idol of what Jordan Peterson advocates for. If you really, you know, listen to a lot of his, like, politics, or I guess really lack thereof in a sense. I mean, because a lot of it is basically just, like, this whole modern Christian, or at least, you know, Christian base, you know, like, you know, Western, you know, societal norm that needs to be established and shit. I mean, you know, because frankly, he is just like a fucking full-on Christian fundamentalist at this point. I mean, so, and Mike Pence is also the same thing. So they're just gonna go hand in hand, just like, you know, some bacon and eggs, mac and cheese, some, you know, meat and potatoes, you know, and it's just gonna go hand in hand like that.
Pence presidency would restore some normalcy. That could be a relief.
Hey, you gotta use a Kermit voice. Come on, you gotta do it like I did. A Pence presidency would restore some normalcy. Mike Pence, that could be a relief. See, like you gotta do it like his voice. You gotta do it like the Kermit voice. I mean, come on, Kyle. I mean, if you're gonna say something in that Jordan Peterson posted, you gotta say it in a mocking Kermit tone. I mean, come on. Kyle.
Mike Pence probably looking for
get Rusty
or the retweet. And he's responding to the Epoch, I don't even know how to pronounce that time.
Epoch. Now, you got it right the first time.
Mike Pence took the stage to define himself as a principled leader who has the experience and character to dig the country out of domestic difficulties and reestablish it as the champion of freedom on the world stage. Let me explain something to you guys. Nobody has been a bigger opponent of freedom than Mike Pence.
Duh. I mean, it doesn't take a fucking, you know, genius to figure that one out. I mean, honestly, I feel like Kyle will probably, in his Kyle form, probably just pretty much explain what I talked about in a way, with along with his usual shtick. I'm assuming. Yeah, that same tweet is really popped up there the entire time. Well, at least we got to the main meat and juice, the main, you know, stew with the broth on that one. Cause like, wow, honestly, I'm not really too surprised. You know, what else you got uploaded here, boy? What else you got, buddy? Oh my god. I mean, these two right here are actually pretty good. Take the Tesla because Tesla sucks, and that's pretty typical. And honestly, wow, you know, shocker. You know, we're out biting the bait.
The Washington Post is out with his new article.
Because we got, like, I mean, yeah, we already know, Kyle. 736 crashes of Tesla's autopilot. See, this is why Tesla sucks. So I think they suck, and that, you know, my fucking hate boner, my war boner, you know, like, against, like, Tesla as, like, a fucking, you know, like, automotive thing, and seeing these fucking Teslas driving around shit. This makes me feel more validated about my position about that. My war boner against Tesla. This is why. Like, the 17. I didn't even see that. 17 fatalities. I mean, it's like you got 17 fucking fatalities, you know, out of all those crashes. I mean, how many of those are severe injuries and shit?
About Tesla, and oh my goodness, is it damning. So they say 17 fatalities, 736 crashes. The shocking toll of Tesla's autopilot. Tesla's driver assistance system, known as autopilot, has been involved in far more crashes than previously reported. There was already some, you know, rumblings about this online. And there'd always be an example of a video here or there where it shows a Tesla making some incredibly irrational decision when it's in that full self-driving mode. And people are always like, hey man, this is sketchy, this is questionable. And it's always a mistake that a normal human driver would never make. Like, there's a brazenly obvious thing to do, and they just don't do it. Well, now that appears to be backed up by the data. So they say the school bus was displaying its stop sign and flashing red warning lights, a police report said, when Tillman Mitchell, 17, stepped off one afternoon in March. Then a Tesla Model Y approached on North Carolina Highway 561. The car, allegedly in autopilot mode, never slowed down. Struck Mitchell at 45 miles per hour. The teenager was thrown into the windshield, flew into the air, and landed face down on the road, according to his great aunt, Dorothy Lynch. Mitchell's father heard the crash and rushed from his porch to find his son lying in the middle of the road. Quote, if it had been a smaller child, the child would be dead.
How's the kid not dead from that? I mean, holy fuck, that sounded brutal.
Crash in North Carolina, Halifax County, where futuristic technology came barreling down a rural highway with devastating consequences, was one of 736 U.S. crashes since 2019 involving Teslas in autopilot mode. Far more than previously reported, according to a Washington Post analysis of National Highway Traffic Safety Administration data. The number of such crashes has surged over the past 4 years, the data shows, reflecting the hazards associated with increasingly widespread use of Tesla's futuristic driver assistance technology.
Which a lot of that is just because of the fucking corners that Musk and his fucking company cuts and shit, because he's such a weaselly fucking corrupt piece of shit. Like, I mean, this is like the whole...
self-driving car, that way when I get pulled over coming home from the bar at night, I wasn't driving, the car was.
I mean, honestly, like, I mean, the whole thing, like, I mean, the whole idea about self-driving cars I'm actually in favor of, but the problem is that Elon Musk is such a corrupt, weaselly fucking shitbag, corner-cutting fucking rat fuck. Like, I mean, he's a vitriolic shitbag.
But the technology...
The thing is, though, well, the problem is, like, I mean, like, the technology could honestly be there right now, but, like, I mean, pretty much the only guy that has, like, the predominant, like, investment into it is that fuck, and, you know, he, like, has no interest in actually, having a quality product put out when it comes to Tesla and shit.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show up and scrape my ass off on the side of a building.
Or getting fucking, like, creamed over, as they're walking home from school. It's like...
The growing presence of the cars on the nation's roadway.
I mean, because, like...
Did a base jump skydive off the side of the building, and the wind was wrong. He scraped his ass.
Ow.
Along the side of the building.
The number of deaths and serious injuries associated with the autopilot also has grown significantly, the data shows. When authorities first released a partial accounting of accidents involving autopilot in June 2022, they counted only 3 deaths definitively linked to the technology. The most recent data includes at least 17 fatal incidents, 11 of them since last May, and 5 serious injuries. Mitchell survived the March crash, but suffered a fractured neck and a broken leg and had to be placed on a ventilator. He still suffers from memory problems and has trouble walking. His great-aunt said the incident should serve as a warning about the dangers of the technology. Quote, I pray that this is a learning process. People are too trusting when it comes to a piece of machinery. Tesla...
I mean, I feel like this is just more of a problem due to the fact that we just trust fucking, like, rich, corrupt, fucking parasitical billionaire fucks, when it comes to, like, developing this shit. Like, we're supposed to trust these type of people, like, they're just, like, not cut corners and not, like, like, have something that's, like, actually, worthwhile for fucking technology. I mean, because I actually think, technology can be good and actually be very useful, especially when it comes to, people that might, be a little too tipsy at the bar or whatever the fuck, It's just like, there's a lot of various reasons as to why, honestly, it's beneficial. But yet, like, I mean, this is like, the guy we have to essentially, like, look up to and the company we have to look up to, and it has, like, a track record of being shit.
Elon Musk said that the cars operating in Tesla's autopilot mode are safer than those piloted solely by human drivers, citing crash rates when the modes of driving are compared. He has pushed the car maker to develop and deploy features programmed to maneuver the roads, navigating stopped school buses, fire engines, stop signs, and pedestrians, arguing that the technology will usher in a safer, virtually accident-free future.
Bullshit. At least under Tesla, that's bullshit. I mean, it's just like, you would think that, eventually that will be, the plausible future, at least, more often than not. But at least as it stands now, fuck no it ain't. Like, this technology is, like, as it stands right now, is not, optimized, concurrently. Because the thing is, there's still human error. I mean, even, like, taking, Tesla and Musk out of this equation, you still have human error in a lot of people that, are driving themselves. And the thing is, like, a lot of this AI, even if it is proficient and efficient, for what it does, like, it's I mean, there's going to be, aspects about human error and the flaws of, people that the AI might not necessarily be able to account for, at least not rapidly enough, to where that type of technology is going to be efficient. At preventing accidents. I mean, because the humans are going to be the ones who are still, causing the accidents. Even if the, self-driving vehicle isn't necessarily the one that's at fault.
Happen to that. Look, this was the promise of the technology. Accident-free. What we're learning is, you're 736 off, bro. Accident-free my ass cheeks. That's not what's happening. While it's impossible to say how many crashes may have been averted, the data shows clear flaws in the technology being tested in real time on America's highways. Tesla's 17 fatal crashes reveal distinct patterns. 4 involved a motorcycle, another involved an emergency vehicle, while some of Musk's decisions, such as widely expanding the availability of the features and stripping the vehicle of radar sensors, appear to have contributed to the reported uptick in incidents according to experts who spoke with the Post. They got rid of the radar sensors.
Do you mind?
Wait until you find out why. Tesla and Elon Musk did not respond to a request for comment. NHTSA said a report of crash involving driver assistance does not itself imply that the technology was the cause. Oh, really? NHTSA has an active investigation into Tesla Autopilot, including full self-driving. Spokeswoman Veronica Morales said, noting the agency doesn't comment on open investigations. They continue here. Musk has repeatedly defended his decision to push driver-assistance technology to Tesla owners, arguing the benefit outweighs the harm.
Does that outweigh the harm? that crash right there in itself does not look like it fucking outweighs the harm. Emergency personnel workers scene where Tesla electric SUV crashed at a Bay Area U.S. highway, Manfield, California. The Apple engineer died. So someone literally fucking died in this accident right here. So yeah, accident free though.
How's that for a benefit? How's that picture for a benefit?
So beneficial.
At the point at which you believe that adding autonomy reduces injury and death, I think you have a moral obligation to deploy it, even though you're going to get sued and blamed by a lot of people, Musk said last year, because the people whose lives you saved don't know that their lives were saved, and the people who do occasionally die or get injured, they definitely know, or their state does. Excuse me, didn't you say...
Wait, so it's like they definitely knew the risks, and the state did too, but guess what? It's actually safe and, accident free though. See, this is why this parasite fucking ratbag motherfucker, is just, the main problem, as to why this technology is looked down upon. Because, this actually could be beneficial for fucking people. And actually could be, a good thing. It actually be a proper investment. But no, this rat fuck, has to try to, look like, some big, big tech guru fuck. To try to, maximize his fucking clout and his fucking profit and shit. And cut corners and, just fuck everyone else over and shit, for his weird grandeur of, saving the world as, the tech guru fuck that he is. It's like this motherfucker is such a... Ugh. Man... the things I really want to say about Elon Musk, I just can't. I really honestly can't. Because... that dude is somebody who, really does not deserve the privilege of life. Let's just put it that way.
Crashes? Didn't I just read that? Former NHTSA Senior Safety Advisor Missy Cummings, a professor at George Mason University's College of Engineering and Computing, said the surge in Tesla crashes is troubling. Tesla is having more severe and fatal crashes than people in a normal data set. She said in response to the figures analyzed by the Post, one likely cause, she said, is the expanded rollout over the past year and a half of the full self-driving, which brings driver assistance to city and residential streets. Quote, the fact that anybody and everybody can have it, is it reasonable to expect that might be leading to increased accident rates? Sure, absolutely. Cummings said the number of fatalities compared to overall crashes was also a concern. It is unclear whether the data captures every crash involving Tesla's driver assistance systems. So this might even be an undercount. NHTSA's data includes some instances where it is...
I already thought there was an undercount going on. I thought these are the more accurate numbers. So is this an undercount of an undercount? Oh my god. So the initial numbers, basically a few here and there, not actually having true set numbers because Tesla is fucking lying about the actual rates of these accidents. This is done by a federal agency, and they realize that it's a lot more. And even then, it's still likely there's even more than just the 700 and what was it again? 736. So it's probably even realistically even more than that. I mean, wow, what? Color me shocked. Wow, shocker. I mean, because honestly, I'm sure that's not necessarily including tiny little minor accidents where Tesla didn't brake properly or some shit, and someone got bumped at 5 miles an hour or some shit at a stop sign, some shit like that. I mean, you know, it's like, I'm sure, honestly, there's probably a lot of accidents like that, too. And either way, it just shows that this technology's not proficient yet. The thing is, like I said, this technology can be good, but before you release it to the commercial, like, populace, you know, for people to, you know, like, you know, buy and operate themselves, in a sense, make sure it actually fucking works. That's the thing. Like, I want the technology to fucking work and actually be good. Like, and then I would think it's actually a good piece of tech, but this is the reason why it's fucking shit and bad, and I don't like, you know, when, you know, these self-driving vehicles right now, because the technology's not proficient. Like, you know, before we, you know, start releasing all these fucking things out there and shit, like, actually make it proficient and safe, like, legitimately. Like, you know, make sure it goes through the fucking process and the regulations. But Mr. fucking Elon cut corners and fuck regulations because free market and I'm going to be the fucking tech guru fuck, you know, the fucking save the day and shit. Let me just handle it. It's like, you fucking rat motherfucker.
Whether autopilot or full self-driving was in use. Those include 3 fatalities, including one last year. NHTSA, the nation's top auto safety regulator, began collecting the data after a federal order in 2021 required automakers to disclose crashes involving driver assistance technology. The total number of crashes involving the technology is minuscule compared with all road incidents. NHTSA estimates that more than 40,000 people died in wrecks of all kinds last year. Here's why that makes no sense. How many people are driving their cars regular versus people who are driving on full autopilot mode or semi-autopilot mode?
There's obviously way more people who are driving in comparison to autopilot or semi-autopilot vehicles out there. I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, it's not even really comparable right now. I mean, and honestly, the fact that, like, I mean, you can't really, like, you know, compare it to, honestly. I mean, that's the kind of thing. It's like, you know, I mean, considering the technology of self-driving vehicles right now, I mean, you can't really necessarily just compare that with, like, you know, people just, you know, also just driving themselves. I mean, because they're just, like, totally two different things. I mean, it's like, I mean, yeah, obviously, duh, there's going to be a shitload fucking more accidents with people just driving themselves, which in a way is more dangerous just by proxy, but I mean, the fact that, like, there is also a pretty extraordinarily high accident rate when it comes to self-driving vehicles when supposedly the whole idea is to be accident-free, that's the problem. That's an issue. Like, I mean, it's like, I mean, because the whole point is to try to minimize and reduce, you know, not just people driving themselves necessarily, but also the accidents that come from that. I mean, that's kind of the point. And if we're basically just taking, you know, one element of, you know, driving around and, you know, replacing it with a different, you know, way of doing so, but still having a shitload of fucking accidents, so what are we doing besides just taking our hands off the wheel, basically, and just letting the computer figure it out? It's like, I mean, it's like, should we be able to do that and not feel like we're gonna have the same type of risk factor, just like, you know, we're driving ourselves? Like, no thank you.
We all know about the risks that are associated with driving on your own. But people do not know that if you go into full autopilot mode, you're actually taking a similar risk. And my guess is those people, if they could, would say, no, I'm not going to go on autopilot and crash. I'd rather be driving myself, and if anybody's to blame, it's me or the other person. They overpromise and they underdeliver. That's the main point here. They overpromise and they underdeliver.
Exactly. I mean, that's basically, like, because Elon Musk is pretty much like the fucking, like, god of overpromising and underdelivering. And when it comes to this shit, it is absolutely no exception. Like, I mean, this is just, you know, one of the main problems with it. I mean, it's just like, I mean, because at the end of the day, the root problem of this is the fact that, like, you have capitalist pig dog motherfuckers, like, unironically, like, I'm not even saying that as a buzz, you know, some buzzword shit, I'm just saying that literally, because he is a capitalistic fucking pig dog. I mean, because that's what Elon Musk is. He literally looks like, you know, a hybrid pig-human-dog thing. I mean, he literally looks like a fucking hybrid creature of some sort. So, I mean, honestly, I'm being pretty literal with him. Like, I mean, I'm honestly, you know, just describing him as just a physical entity just pretty accurately. So, either way. But, I digress. It's like, you know, you got a motherfucker like that who literally, you know, and other piece of shit who are, act very similarly, who would, basically, for their own profit or even their own clout and for their own personal gain, will stifle legitimate, not just creativity, but also ingenuity and safety, to make, to maximize their fucking profit and to maximize their fucking gain. They're, a lot of the fucking root as to why, this type of shit's fucked. Like, because, like I said, this technology actually could be safe, good, and efficient. And even if there are, things where there might be an accident here and there, there's at least, a system in place and something in place that can, fix and adjust that type of shit. It can be corrected accordingly. But, when you have someone, Musk taking the reins of something like that, you ain't going to get any of that. Not when you got, like, the free hand of the CEO, basically, fucking dictating shit. I mean, that's really the whole free hand of the market, thing. Like, the main bullshit with that is that it's not the free hand of the market, it's the free hand of the CEO to do whatever the fuck they want. That's really what they mean.
Since the reporting requirements were introduced, again, wait till you hear, there's more facts on this which are astonishing. Since the reporting requirements were introduced, the vast majority of the 807 automation-related crashes have involved Tesla. Tesla, which has experimented more aggressively with automation than other automakers, also is linked to almost all of the deaths. So other companies are more cautious, and they're more clear that, hey, this is only like semi-autopilot, you gotta keep your hands on the wheel, etc. Musk recently rolled out full, auto mode.
And every death is on his hand. Not every crash is necessarily on his hand, but all the blood and, people that have died because of, his, of this technology is on his hands. Which proves the point. Because the thing is, like I said, there are other companies. There's, like, Lucid, there's, even some of these other big brand companies like GM, Ford, etc. that are getting into on this. I mean, it's like a lot of them are taking a far more cautious approach where it's like, where even if there are accidents, there's still at least a human element at play. And even if there isn't, it's nowhere near severe where someone, fucking dies. Where no one, dies from that shit. And the accident isn't severe. Obviously, it's probably case by case, but nonetheless, it just, like, shows that, who's, kind of a problem here. I mean, obviously, at the root, all of them are kind of at fault for all these issues, but who's kind of a glaring motherfucking problem with this? It's Musk. It's him and his company. They're the one who's, like, fundamentally sold fucking the ideas of grandeur and shit and has, done more detriment because of it.
You have to go back on that. Subaru ranks second with 23 reported crashes since 2019. That's a lot lower. The enormous gulf probably reflects wider deployment and use of automation across Tesla's fleet of vehicles, as well as the wider range of circumstances in which Tesla's drivers are encouraged to use autopilot. Autopilot, which Tesla introduced in 2014 in a suite of features that enable...
Was it really that far back? Jesus Christ.
...the car to maneuver itself from highway on-ramp to off-ramp, maintaining speed and distance behind other vehicles and following lane lines. Tesla offers it as a standard feature on its vehicles, of which more than 800,000 are equipped with autopilot on U.S. roads, though advanced iterations come at a cost. Full self-driving, an experimental feature that customers must purchase, allows Teslas to maneuver from point A to point B by following turn-by-turn directions along a route, halting for stop signs and traffic lights, making turns and lane changes, and responding to hazards along the way. With either system, Tesla says drivers must monitor the road and intervene when necessary. Oh, so in other words, it's not really full autopilot. What do you...
Oops. So, basically, you still have to have your hands on the wheel and all that shit. It's not full on, but of course, this Weasley fuck is a liar. Elon Musk is pretty much a pathological liar. I mean, it's proven at this point. This motherfucker lies, so, all the fucking time. About all sorts of different bullshit. Oh, wait, I got hiccups right now. Oh, fuck, they just went away. Okay, I honestly deadass just thought about myself, saying I'm not a fish in my mind. And that worked. They literally just, immediately went away. Actually, now my chest feels weird because they just abruptly just stopped so suddenly. Whoa. Whoa. Dude, that honestly fucking works, man.
Full self-driving mode, that might lead to some people going, okay, I won't keep my hands on the wheel, and then crash. So maybe don't call it full self-driving mode. That's misleading marketing. The uptick in crashes coincides with Tesla's full self-driving, with 400,000 in a little more than a year. Nearly 2/3 of all driver assistance crashes that Tesla has reported to NHTSA occurred in the past year. Philip Koopman, a Carnegie Mellon University professor who has conducted research on autonomous vehicle safety for 25 years, said the prevalence of Teslas in the data raises crucial questions. A significantly higher number certainly is a cause for concern, he said. We need to understand if it's due to actually worse crashes or if there's some other factor, such as a dramatically larger number of miles being driven with autopilot on. In February, Tesla issued a recall of more than 360,000 vehicles equipped with full self-driving over concerns that the software prompted its vehicle to disobey traffic lights, stop signs, and speed limits. Excuse me?
Oh my god. Before you roll this type of technology out, maybe, I don't know, like hash it out, do some tinkering and, temper that shit, work the fucking glitches around the edges, fix that shit up. What the fuck? This whole corner cutting bullshit is the reason why this is such a problem, and people look at things like self-driving AI shit with animosities, because you got fuckers like this that basically make it literally more of a hazard and detrimental to people more than anything else. What the whole idea is it's supposed to be safer. If all the deaths from this type of shit is basically on Tesla and Musk and shit, and at least what was it, over 80-something% of the crashes is because Tesla, then obviously, someone out there is overselling this whole fucking idea and trying to sell fucking, dreams of grandeur and shit, and it's actually, underselling, a fucking product that's actually fucking dangerous to people. And it really gets under my gears, because I really do see Teslas around here a lot, and it annoys me. It's you fucks, what happens when the battery suddenly just combusts out of nowhere on your shit? What are you gonna do then?
Excuse me? If you can't get the traffic lights, the stop signs, and the speed limits right, then what are you talking about full self-driving for? That's not what this is. My God, they couldn't get the basics right. This is the basics. The flouting of traffic laws, documents posted by the safety agency said, could increase the risk of collision if the driver does not intervene. You don't say.
Duh.
Tesla said it remedied the issues with an over-the-air software update remotely addressing the risk.
Just some software update, how about you actually just, since when the fuck, honestly, did just have a software updates, fix things, when it comes to a vehicle like this? Oh my god. The more details I learn about this shit, the more it actually aggravates me. If you got a corporate sponsor, which one would you want to be? Yeah, probably Manscaped. They're kind of like a male hygienic company where they sell razors and aftershave creams and stuff like that. Is Elon being a tech bro? Well, of course it is. This entire thing is basically just Elon being a tech bro and just selling dreams of grandeur, and really is just selling you a bunch of bullshit. Manscaped, you want to be some whiskey? I don't, are there whiskeys that do sponsorships? Because if so, sure. But yeah, honestly, yeah, I'd do Manscaped. Because, yeah, I do some manscaping and shit. I don't really got a lot going on, but hey, I also manscape down there too. So, it'd work as, yeah, sure. Huh. Anyway, I feel like I've learned enough about this one. Yeah, I'll give it a like. I'll give Kyle a boost in the algorithm. Boosting the algorithms! Yeah. Here. Let's see what are the fun things we'll look at. Is there any... Doesn't seem like I'm seeing much. Kind of see... I saw all the other stuff I kind of wanted. Oh my god. Oh wait, you got me a short. Alright, I'll check. I'm already subscribed to these people? Okay.
Don't keep scrolling, I'm desperate. Parents gotta be the most disrespectful people up in this home. First off, they be bragging about...
Oh wait, hold on, we gotta turn it...
This home. First off, they be bragging about how they gave you life. But ain't nothing to brag about. If I knew the struggle life was about to be, best believe. Best believe.
Whoa. Best believe. Hey!
If I knew the struggle life was about to be, best believe. Best believe. My ugly ass would have stayed in the sack. Not only do they brag about giving you life, but they be holding it against you. Like, bro, you're the one who wanted kids. Why are you getting mad at me for? My favorite part is when they start bringing up things that they did for you as a baby. They be all like, oh, I fed you. Oh, I bathed you. I bought you clothes. Like, bro, that's what you're supposed to do. How did I get it? The bare minimum. If y'all was gonna get angry, y'all should have had kids to begin with. That's why this video is sponsored by Trojan. Wait, I'm desperate.
It's sponsored by Trojan. You know what? I definitely would sponsor. I would be sponsored by Trojan. I usually like put my vids on 1.5 speed, and this guy's going like 1,000,000 miles per hour. Honestly, he usually doesn't speak that fast. Like, honestly, that was probably the fastest I ever heard him talk. Which I think it was because that probably was a legitimate sponsorship. I don't know. But, I mean, it is a YouTube short. I mean, unfortunately, you have to basically try to shove in content within 60 seconds. Or I think it's like 1 minute and 5 seconds or something. I think it's like 6 seconds. Something like that. It's like 1 minute. Accurate on... Yeah, I mean... Like, that's kind of thing. I mean, so, you guys sometimes fish shit in the shorts. And honestly, there's a lot of people that I watch that... You know, like, will be that do make YouTube shorts, not necessarily predominantly, but they will do that on the side, or sometimes they do predominantly, but they have other content to do as well. And sometimes there will literally be a cutoff where they have like one more sentence that they're going to say, and it literally cuts off at like the last little bit of the sentence because, well, they're trying to shove so much content in a short that sometimes the last tiny little bit of things that they're trying to say will literally just cut off. I mean, it happens sometimes. But that's just because shorts are just... No, they're not a shitty version of Vines. They're a shitty version of TikTok. Well, in a way, they're better, but at the same time, they suck because TikTok apparently, lets you make longer videos than 1 minute. So, YouTube shorts need to at least be, like, willing to at least be 1 minute and 30 seconds, or something, because, yeah, I feel like it needs at least a little bit more leg room. I mean, because honestly, I don't know. I mean, shorts are okay. I mean, honestly, they are, like, a major algorithm boost. Like, the one video that I have the most views on is a YouTube short. Puts out an annoying watermark on vids. I see... Oh, yeah, like, at the very end of them. Like that little... Bloop, shows the TikTok. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does that. YouTube Shorts don't have that, at least. So, I'll grant YouTube Shorts that. It doesn't have that. They also have that watermark in the right corner. Yeah, that too. Like I said, at least YouTube Shorts don't got that. I see it anyway because a lot of YouTube Shorts that I watch happen to be re-uploads half the time. So, that definitely gets annoying. Oh, Let's shine. Keeper of the Celestial Kazoo. Is it really like Keeper of Celestial Flame, but in Kazoo? I swear to God, if it actually is, I'm gonna laugh. It actually is. It actually, what? Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, oh my, okay. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, because it would get annoying pretty quickly, but oh my God, I'm giving it a like.
Somebody's plugging the nose.
It's a kazoo, but it...
Okay. That explains everything.
It's a kazoo cover, and oh my God, it did make me laugh. I'm gonna have to enjoy that on my own time. Oh my God.
Oh, come on.
Oh my God, there's a door stopping that door, and he still somehow found out to try to close that door. Oh my God. There's a door stop on the door, and he still somehow figured out how to close the damn door. Not all the way, but... Really?
Come here.
Bro. Oh my God. What a fucking butt.
Okay, good schnoz. Alright.
Oh my good fucking Lord. It's gonna be sentenced to hard labor in Pap's shack. Nah, I couldn't do that to him. Honestly, like, especially when the sun comes out, dude, that shed gets fucking hot. Like, I couldn't do that to him. It'd basically be leaving him in a fucking car, that's like, when it's like in the peak of summer. Dog got something shit on that Fred. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he doesn't really have much to do. I mean, I kind of feel bad for him now. I'm gonna see if, one of my buddies from work, that is gonna, he actually, from my understanding, talked to our store director, so he's gonna be able to, get his job back. So, after all the fiasco of him, being homeless and losing his wallet and getting lost for a while out in Tacoma and being MIA and all this other shit, like, and, I know he needs, like, a stable spot. So, I'm thinking, if that actually works out, then, at least Sukov will have at least a buddy to, hang out with and shit. And I feel like, he would probably be more interactive than, that dude's back. Yeah, dude, he had, like, dude, the story was, like, insane. Like, the reason why he got, like, he was MIA is because he got team-boned, out in Tacoma because he was, checking out one of his friends. And then, like, fucking, like, was stuck up there for a few weeks of shit, and, like, didn't have, his phone being, have, all charged up or anything, so you didn't really have, like, any way to contact, like, fucking anyone and shit. And he tried to, like, from my understanding, like, like, go to different people to be like, hey, I'm from Portland, and I'm stuck up here and trying to get back. And, of course, no one believed him, because they're like, oh, well, because unfortunately Tacoma has so many homeless people and shit, like, they think he's just some other homeless guy, essentially. So it's just like, damn. I mean, you got, like, fucked for a while. I mean, eventually, was able to get his way back here and shit. But, like, I mean, that's just not even, like, the fucking, like, surface of it. I mean, there's, like, a lot of other shit, about it. I mean, it's, like, a whole fucking story in itself. I mean, because it is whack. But, maybe I'll... How do you get back, Amtrak? No, he has a... Because the main reason why I was going up to Washington was to go check up on one of his friends that recently moved up there that, like, used to be, from my understanding, I think, like, a part, legitimately part, like, some kind of bad blood a little bit, where one of her exes was a former felon, and was affiliated with like the Hells Angels and shit like that and stuff, and is a very vindictive fuck and stuff, and has been trying to follow her and fuck with her, when he found out where she was since. Because she used to live just right around the corner, but when he discovered that she lived down here, she moved back. She moved up to Tacoma, and of course they kind of found out she was up there a little bit at a certain point, and then of course like my coworker, my buddy, wanted to go check up on him. And he also suspects that the T-boning that happened to him might be related to the whole situation, but he's not really too sure about that. I mean, like, honestly, from my understanding, at least with that incident, when he got T-boned, like, the dude pulled over and was like, yo, you okay? And when he said, yeah, I'm alright, but, dazed, confused, and fucked up a little bit, but okay. But, I mean, when the guy that hit him and shit, said that, like, apparently his vehicle's okay, for the most part, was able to drive, at least enough, because after that, he got back in his car and drove off. So, he was basically, like, stranded, at that point. So, he kind of thinks that maybe that was intentional, but, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but at least from what he says, I mean, I would think it probably was. Because if it was an accident, you'd think the person would stay there. Right? So a hit and run loser. Possibly. I mean, that also could be it. Someone who's just like, hey, you okay? Okay, I guess you're fine. Well, at least you're not dead. Fuck it, I'm out. So, like, I mean, it could be that too. Either way, though, it's like, you gotta suck up there, because of that shit. And, I mean, and, like, and there's also, like, all sorts of other shit that, like, like, that's kind of led up to, like, a falling out at, from, the friend that I was talking about that was trying to, that my coworker was trying to check up with. Because, like, I mean, considering her circumstance, she's obviously kind of paranoid about a lot of this situation. And with that, I think she kind of took some of that out on her, and basically, like, or not on her. I mean, I took that out on him a little bit, because from my understanding, from what he told me, like, he was kind of getting gaslit to being like, oh, like, starting to be with him and blah blah and all that sort of shit. So I mean, I think her paranoia was honestly starting to, like, kind of, like, succumb to her mental health a little bit. And, at this point, from my understanding, they kind of have fallen out, though my friend, is still wanting to make sure she's okay, obviously, but at this point isn't really worrying too much about that. He's just trying to make sure that, he can get his shit stable again. I mean, because it's, I mean, if, things work out and he actually does move in here, even if it is temporarily, moves in here for a little bit, I mean, maybe I can have him, sit down for a little bit and actually kind of go through some of that story a little bit, because it is honestly fucking insane. I mean, honestly, I'm not doing it justice. Like, I really am not. Like, I mean, you really have to hear it from the horse's mouth with this one, because it is insane. It really honestly is. It's just a crazy fucking story. And from what I know he hasn't told me every single little detail, mainly just because we haven't really, had a chance to really, like, kind of, like, sit down and really lay the whole story out, essentially. Just because it's, like, I mean, there's just so much that happened, when he was gone for that little bit of time. I'm just glad he's okay, though, but, I mean, holy shit. I mean, he's a vet. He's been, he's literally done, like, been for, like, foothills and fucking Iraq and shit. I mean, it's like, I'm sure he can, handle himself, all in all, but still, it's like, holy fuck, man. Definitely went for some crazy shit, in the past, like, month or so. And at least considering that, my roommate moved out, well, I mean, not roommate anymore, but, since he moved out and shit, and I know at least we, kind of need a little bit of, financial assistance as well, because he definitely did help with that. I definitely think, it not only would help him give a sense of stability, but also will help us a little bit. But, at least, he would at least, still maintain a relative decent income too, on top of that. And not have to necessarily worry about, like, the stress of, where he's at right now. Because I think he's couch surfing with his sister, which they're not on the greatest of terms from what I understand. But, they're fine enough, obviously, to, be around each other. But they're not, they're not necessarily, like, the greatest of terms of each other. So, I mean, at least enough, obviously, to where she's, obviously, as family, going to help him out. But I think it would just be better stability wise, if it's at least with a buddy that there ain't no stress involved with shit. If anything, I was actually trying to see if maybe his mom and my mom could get introduced at some point, because that was actually legit a possibility at some point, because she was in because his mom was in physical rehab too, not anymore, but at least was for a little bit, and they're trying, at least when she was trying to get transferred to where my mom was. So honestly, there was kind of a situation where they probably would have been introduced, and she would have known about him anyway. So I mean, my mom seems like she already likes him too, from what I've told about him. So I mean, that's always a good start. I mean, it's like, it seems like whoever I start talking about and shit, like 95% of the time it's like, oh, that seems like a really nice person. Or, you know how to, like, size people up, huh? And it's like, well, I don't know. I don't mean to, but I think it's just because most people are just cool like that. I don't know. It's weird if they ask you it was okay before leaving. You shows ass it's just fleet. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, honestly, at least, when I was mentioning about, like, that incident and stuff, and when it happened to him, like, that's why I kind of believe that, him a little bit, that he thinks it's intentional, just because, like, usually if it's a hit and run, yeah, they don't stop and ask if you're okay. Like, they usually just leave. And also, if someone stops to ask if you're okay, they usually stay. So, it's kind of odd. I mean, so that's why I feel like, at least when it came to that incident, how he got, fucked in this whole situation in the first place, basically. I mean, honestly, when I see that, it's like, I kind of see some legit intention to that. I mean, it could be, maybe playing into the, paranoia a little bit with that, but, I mean, well, not my own, but at least, maybe with theirs, but I mean, I don't really see any other way. I guess somebody being, who's a hit-run shitbag, but was weird and decided to see if they were at least alive and okay enough, and was, and left after that. But if not, then probably some intentional thing. But who knows? Guess I have to be there to see it, I suppose. Magic Tavern strippers are moving forward with unionization drive. Oh, what? Really? Fuck yeah. If they actually have a strike or something, I might, on one of my days off, I might actually, swing by and say what's up. Honestly, if they do. Depends if their manager is a piece of shit. They're on strike. There's a rally today, apparently. Oh, so they actually are on strike. Oh, fuck yeah. So, I'm assuming there probably is going to be one on Wednesday or Thursday. Because if so, honestly, I would unironically go down there. I will stand in solidarity if I'm, dude, fuck yeah. Dude, absolutely. I'll even maybe, like, at least take a couple pictures and maybe a video or something. Dude, fuck yes. Dude, every time, there happens to be a strike, and I have some time, dude, I'll absolutely fucking, stand in solidarity with that shit. In April, dancers at the Magic Tavern went on strike. Back in April, so they've been on strike. Saying they'll only return if management made changes, including hiring qualified security, installing security cameras, presenting illegal. They don't even have security cameras there. What the fuck, dude? What the hell? Presenting a legal contract and additional demands. Oh my god, there's so many goddamn pop-ups. Okay. Last Tuesday, dancers announced that they have filled the union election following footsteps of the Los Angeles dive bar, whose dancers... Oh, yeah, I actually was keeping tabs with that, and they officially are unionized. Dude, that shit's spreading. Hell yeah, strippers union. Strippers united, baby. Let's go. A Sunday afternoon, a rally drew a crowd outside Northwest Portland bar. Even though you work for, ask one severe. If you cannot answer the question, then there might be time for some change. Coin 6 reached out to Match Tavern, but it's not heard a comment back. Well, duh. It's like, yeah, all these things that talked about, yeah, it's kind of true, and we're not going to comment about that. We're just going to kind of shut up and just not say anything, because it will incriminate us. And if they make a PR stunt, then it's just going to make them look bad either way, and people are going to be like, fuck off your corporate message bullshit. So, it's like, either don't say anything or incriminate yourself further. Base. Well, I hope there's, I hope they're, out there striking on either Wednesday or Thursday, because those are my days off. So, if they are, then, I'll pay them a visit. Fuck it. I know I got some stuff to do on Wednesday, but I can save squeeze some time. Thursday is my free day, but so if not, then I'll swing by over there Thursday. Fuck it. Have a little day in city. Because if not, even if they're not striking, then at least on that day, then, fuck it. I'll go ahead and just, take a day in the city. See what's going on. See what's happening. See what the Portland life's like. Touch some grass. But, either way, it's cool shit. And, of course, I hope they fucking win that shit. Because, I really was not aware that was happening. I mean, I knew that, this, the whole idea of a strippers union has been growing way more so, especially in the last, year. Because of, in LA, because of the strippers United union that unionized there. I forgot the name of the bar. I think it was, honestly, I'm blanking on the name, but it was they spent I think a full year about trying to get those fucking efforts pushed through, and eventually they I think sometime earlier this year or late last year they succeeded, and then and of course now we're seeing that momentum spread. I mean, because that's all it really takes. It's one successful effort gets that ball rolling. And doesn't necessarily have to be in the same area. The first one was in LA, and now we're seeing one in Portland. And, it just shows how wide that reach is. It shows how influential that shit can be. So, it's good shit. Hell, I know, Rip, you were mentioning that, even your workplace, has some of that type of shit going on. Or it's you had, somebody that recently got transferred over there that was straight up... talking about potentially unionizing. And honestly, straight up kind of get with them a little bit. It's because, I know you probably at least have a little bit of tangential knowledge from stuff I've talked about, so, you might be able to maybe see if you can persuade some minds. Because obviously, two people, talking about that shit is way better than just one person. So... it makes, it honestly does legit kind of make it a little bit easier, to push that type of message, towards other people. Even if it's not necessarily, due to wages and stuff, but, the fact that, it seems like your working conditions and your understaffing and some of these other factors seem to be, kind of some glaring problems to us either way. And, of course, You know, until, you know, they don't really seem like they, you know, are really worried about fucking fixing that. Even though, like, I mean, weren't they just given a bunch of, like, contracts federally and shit to basically, like, expand and stuff? So, shouldn't they be hiring people? So, it's like, they really shouldn't have a reason to be understaffed. So, it's just like, I mean, at least to some extent, a union would definitely help with, you know, expanding some of that, because it at least offers, like, an actual solid base, you know, to, you know, to overall, you know, like, you know, get people into, like, a certain workplace. Because if you have, like, you know, a local union that's based around that type of industry, obviously, you know, people in your workplace might be unionized like that, but there's going to be people in other workplaces in different areas that, you know, might be able to afford, or at least have an ability to supplement means to get to where you're at, you know, to help supplement the understaffing issue. I mean, so, I mean, it's like, just because of those type of things. On top of other shit as well. The Intel's cutting payroll. Did you really think the CHIPS Act would be anything more than a corporate handout? Well, of course. The CHIPS Act was, of course, going to be a corporate handout, because it was. And yeah, and that's kind of part of the reason why, you know, like, there should at least be, to some extent, some unionization efforts, you know, because, like, if they're going to be cutting payroll, that's kind of a major fundamental problem. Like, I mean, at the very minimal, payroll should not be cut. Even if, like, you know, there might be, like, you know, some other factors, you know, about, like, the workplace that might need to be cut to a certain extent. Like, if there's one thing that should be absolutely fucking, like, off limits, is pay and the benefits, frankly. Like, I mean, those are the only two that should be absolutely fucking hands off. Like, if you have to downsize your fucking workplace, or, you know, some other shit, you know, okay, fine, sure, you know, within reason, I suppose. But benefits and pay, fuck away from that. Like, I mean, don't touch it. Like, that should be literally the absolute fucking, you know, hands off thing. They're laying off workers. Yeah, I mean, that's also, like, I mean, that's another issue. Like, I mean, they can't just simply just, like, lay off people. Like, there actually needs to be a system in place, and at least, you know, some sort of protections for the workers that, you know, let's say if there needs to be some sort of a downsize or some shit, where there's at least some sort of a supplemental, like, income for them in the meantime. I'm not just simply talking about, like, unemployment, but, like, you know, contract of, like, departure, where, you know, it's like they will, you know, at least, you know, unless they get employed somewhere else, where at least, you know, that contract will give them some sort of, like, dividend, you know, as, you know, they're, you know, from being laid off and shit. This is at least, you know, supplemental to what they were making, you know, with their salary or their wage. Also, because they're the only unionized employees. Of course they're talking, of course they will target the janitors because they're the only ones who are unionized. I mean, because it's basically just an attempt at union busting. I mean, you know, for a union that's already in place at a workplace and shit, like, the best way to fucking bust it up is basically just, like, you know, target them overtly and directly. Especially when it comes to layoffs and, you know, downsizing and shit. Which, if we get to downsize, you know, like, the people that are, like, the main producers and, like, the workers directly shouldn't be the ones that are, you know, on the bottom of the list that is downsized. You know, like, if, you know, we're going to look at this, like, you know, from the CEO, administrators, blah, 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 you know, the executives and all that shit, you know, top down and stuff, well, guess what? If we're going to, you know, have to downsize, well, look at it the same exact way, bitch. It's like, downsize from the top, bottom, you know, shit. Like, top first, bottom last. Like, if the top matters the most and the bottom, you know, matters the least, then, you know, treat the same way. Logic applies there, too. All it's going to do is the facilities will be less clean. Yeah, it'll literally be more dirty. Less sanitized. AKA, less safe of a working conditions, because it means it's going to be less sanitary, thus more hazardous, because you're more likely to get sick. So, Seems like the working conditions got worse. Man, Intel's sleazy as fuck. I mean, all these corporations are, but to be fair, but I mean, goddamn. It's like every single one of them are just so uniquely sleazy in their own fucking ways. It's like, ugh. Every time I learn some of the details about how sleazy they can be, you know, when it comes to some of them, it's like, what the fuck? Ugh. Just makes me, gross me out. Just waiting for shit to really hit the fan when the new area opens. We're always struggling for what we had. The response times for that new area are going to be hilariously bad. Oh my god, it's probably going to be a goddamn nightmare. I imagine it's just going to be an absolute fucking clusterfuck. I mean, that's honestly partly why I'm a little excited to, you know, attempt to unionize the new season when it, even though it's delayed, you know, eventually fucking opens. Because I'm used to the whole, like, you know, chaotic energy of a, you know, grocery store, you know, like, running around like a chick with his head cut off. Especially if it's, like, understaffed and shit. Like, I'm used to that shit, frankly. I'm a vet on that. So, it's like, I mean, if anything, that would actually make it even more easier to potentially, you know, talk about unionization, especially considering I got the fucking background for it already. And, you know, I don't necessarily have to make that super open, you know, to the management and new seasons right off the bat. In fact, honestly, I'm going to talk to New Seasons Labor Union first. I'm going to get in touch with them before I even, you know, start applying over there. Because I want to make sure that they know, you know, what my intentions are. Because then once I, you know, because, you know, all things considered, then they will start immediately, like, you know, kind of coming up over here and being like, why are they showing up? What's going on here? But that, by that point, it'd probably be a little too late. At least in Portland, from what I understand, like, at least, you know, the unionization efforts in new seasons haven't been, like, you know, super difficult. It seems like, from what I understand, at least from what I've heard, like, you know, the different efforts that have happened have, you know, been fairly successful and been pretty smooth. So, I don't know. I mean, when you get a fresh new store that opens up and, you know, getting that push, you know, pretty quickly, I mean, I imagine there would probably be a little bit more of a, you know, like, obstruction towards, you know, something like that. But I don't know. Like, you know, like I was saying kind of from the beginning of streaming, at least when it comes to the whole music project idea, it's like, I'm feeling ambitious. Got some ambitions. At least, you know, like, I have to wait to pull the trigger on that one, because I'm waiting for that store to fucking open. At least get around to that process to finally fucking happen. But, hey, at least with some other ambitions I can pull the trigger with. Because, hey, if not, then, as you said, shit will definitely really hit the fan. So, gotta shoot some of those ambitions. Pull the trigger on that shit. All gas don't breaks it. Get some of the meat potatoes all up in that stew. Where'd it go? Oh, of course. Dude, there's a fucking door stop and you still close the fucking door. Silly dog. Silly little goofball. Anyway, I'm gonna make myself some egg sandwiches. It's been my fat fucking kick lately, and I am really craving some more of that. Didn't realize Bob from Boobs Red Mill sold 294 and apparently is way better mental shape than Feinstein & Co. He's that old? Seriously? Like, the way Metal T has described him, I honestly thought it was in, like, his 70s or something. And he's like such a nice, wholesome dude from what I understand. Like he actually say coherent sentences and still plays the piano. And from what I understand, we'll still like walk around like, you know, like the mill and stuff like that and, you know, say what's up to people. Dude. Fucking based old man, dude. I'm liking him more. I like him more now. What a sweet dude. What a sweet old man. But, anyway. Like I said, gonna make that egg sandwich now. Because they're sounding fucking just glorious right now. And I got bread this time. So, peace out. And of course, I'll be back around for the next morning. So,